welcome to the Team Akhi podcast, guys. New layout, new scenes, new movie,
new us,
new movie. I like that.
Same me. Boy Mo Idris.
Neus Ash.
News at 9.
Lads, how we doing?
All good.
Yeah, good.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room. We tried this yesterday.
Yeah, we did.
Oh man, this is take 2.
You'll see the bloopers reel.
Take 2.
Yeah,
This is take 2.
This is take 2. So we had this. It was me
Technical
doing a lot of the fidgeting. Yeah, we had technical difficulties. Obviously, new layout. And yeah, we had some challenges, but we're back to it, man. I'm glad we could get back to it so quickly. So what's going on, lads? Talk to me. How's the last few days, weeks been in your lives?
Hectic, busy.
Yeah?
Just busy, yeah. Just a lot going on work-wise. I've literally just come back from Manchester this morning. Which is what, a 3-hour drive? This afternoon.
Yeah.
I got there at 2 a.m. yesterday, after our failed episode.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2 in the morning.
Dedication.
I got there at
right
2
there.
a.m. Yeah, I literally got home straight from the podcast. Attempted podcast, sorry. Got home, packed a bag, packed my suit, packed all my stuff for work and shot to Manchester. Got there at 2 a.m. Booked a hotel, then left. Had to call the hotel to make sure I could check in at 2 a.m. 6 hours sleep, up, ready to go. And then did what I needed to do work-wise. Left there at 1:30. I was back in our hometown by 5:30.
Okay.
Not bad. Good time traveling.
And then I'm going away tomorrow. I'm going to Madrid tomorrow.
Oh, yeah.
Good.
Mm.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, music festival on Friday.
Yeah.
So seeing Kendrick, Fred again, and Skrillex. Looking forward to that. That's going to be a good one.
I'm getting deja vu.
Who else is on the card?
Funny, right? It's like we had this conversation before.
Hold on. When are you going to Nas?
Tuesday next week.
13th.
Wu-Tang, yeah, 13th. When are you going?
Same day.
Same day.
Oh, cool.
Just checking.
So which side are you sitting on?
I ain't got my tickets yet. But if I know my seating plan, because I've been there a few times through the same person, I'm gonna probably be in the box closest to the right or left. If you're on the stage, left.
Okay.
And Mo,
I'm on the
which
other side.
box will you be sat in?
I'm going to be sitting in my own box.
Oh.
It's like a little seat.
Oh.
And there's about 40,000 of them.
Oh, nice.
Okay. I mean, right. How much?
And I will be...
How much you pay for your ticket?
Oh, I got them early because I'm on O2. I got priority tickets. So it was, I paid like £100 and something pounds, £107 or something like that.
And I will be in the cardboard box outside of the arena.
Yep.
No, he
Hoping
said
to
he got
catch the sound
tickets
of
for
it.
you, B.
Yeah, I know,
understand?
but-
I'm giving tickets away right now.
Yeah, but we
tickets
talked
for
about
you.
this.
This ain't going to...
Those tickets have to come. Those tickets have to come with medical insurance. I'm not taking those tickets unless it comes with medical insurance.
Because it's a mosh pit.
It is the standing mosh.
All right, let me see if I can show you a rough
The
idea.
only box I'll end up in by the end of the night will be the box underground.
Yeah.
If I go into that standing, no thanks.
So whilst he's
is he looking
for
up
those,
his tickets?
Yeah, he's looking for the tickets. So
No,
I guess
stop. No, stop. Let's wait.
okay.
No, I'm not looking for the tickets,
Ah, God.
guys. I don't have my tickets yet. I just know roughly where I'll be sitting because every time I book tickets through these guys,
You're always
it's
in that
their
spot.
box, basically. It's in their little...
Is that where we sat when we went to watch?
No. So it was literally... So when we went to watch Kevin Hart, we were sat pretty much opposite.
Ah, okay.
It would have been the box looking down from pretty much the opposite side of where we were.
Oh yeah, that's a good view.
The one thing I was saying, because I went to...
So, for instance, look, this was me at
The monster truck.
the monster truck thing.
That's a good view.
That is a good view.
And this would be where the stage is.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So hopefully...
Only the camera people.
And you
can
know
see
what? I've been to the O2.
Yeah, sorry, camera people. Y'all can't
Sorry,
see
camera
that.
No, that's right.
It wasn't for y'all anyway.
Yeah, I've been to the O2 twice, I think. And then I went to Indigo once. Indigo was to go see Music Soul Child. But one thing I have to say about the O2, it's not... Wherever you sit, it's not actually that far from the stage.
No, not at
It's
all.
not at all.
Especially,
I remember when I went
especially for music.
Watch the Throne.
Especially for
You
music.
Watch the Throne?
If you're talking...
Ye and Jay-Z?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was the album, wasn't it?
If you're talking music, then it isn't. Because in reality, you don't necessarily have to be right in front of the person singing anyway. As long as you can see line of sight and you can see them doing what they're doing and the music's going off, you're fine.
Yeah.
Generally speaking, I would say it's only with things like maybe like boxing. But even then, O2 isn't
The
that
good the good
big.
thing about O2 with boxing or
It's not that
UFC
big.
or things like that is it's the stage, which is the ring, is in the middle.
Yeah.
It's not pushed at the back. It's
Yeah.
right in the middle of it.
Yeah.
So there's seats all the way around.
Yeah.
So you're
But what-
closer technically.
Watch the Throne was
I was about to
amazing.
say that must have been incredible.
That was good, and Rihanna made a surprise appearance.
Oh no way.
I can't remember the song that she released. Them3 released at the time. Weezy was in it.
Run
Weezy-
This Town.
Yes, Run This Town. Was Weezy on that?
I'm sure it was.
Anyway, but it was that track. You're right. I
No?
got it wrong.
Wayne.
But yeah, he had a stage right in the middle as well, and it came up and it had all this mad writing on it. But yeah, you know the famous dance, man. That's all I went for. That's all I went for was Yay. I'd seen Jay-Z before. I saw him when he came to MK, but that was unbelievable. But this, for me, it's just this is a bucket list thing, man.
100.
Like Nas is just
That's why I'm considering
probably
my own safety to take
my-
those tickets.
my favorite New York.
That is
right.
genuinely why I'm considering my own safety for these tickets.
Mm.
Because there's not going to be another chance to see Wu-Tang and Nas like that. To see either of them potentially in the UK in the future.
And I'll be real with you.
But
if it's a vibe,
I'm reckoning the crowd will be a good crowd because it won't be.
You don't think
I mean,
they'll be
don't
moshing?
No, 100 they will be if you've watched the
I
footage.
could hang on to the edge.
But what I'm saying to you is, it's still gonna be a very.
Move that a bit closer.
It's still gonna be a very older crowd. It won't be a mad young crowd. I don't believe.
No, it won't. I mean, who in the last 10 years would have known? 10,
Well,
15 years
Nas
would have known?
maybe though.
No,
You'd be
Nas,
surprised,
maybe.
bro. You'd be surprised.
Wu-Tang?
Like, you'll be surprised.
Bro,
My younger
people
cousin
are
and all of her
fans,
friends
B.
all listen to
Wu-Tang
Wu-Tang and
have
Nas.
fans up till now, B.
Yeah,
Like
no, of course they do,
teenagers,
but
right
I'm
now-
talking new generation.
There's
Bro,
resurgences
people
of it.
on. People
Yeah?
put
There's
them on.
resurgences.
People
It's
put
like
people
cool
on.
now to listen to older stuff.
What was the last big track Wu-Tang put out?
The last big track
Yeah, like chart.
would have been Gravel Pit.
Yeah, Gravel Pit.
What
And
Wu-Tang?
that was what 2002, 2003.
Yeah, but it's their original
Was it
catalogue.
2003?
It's
Nah,
like
research
36
that. It
chambers
wasn't
now
that
that's
old.
becoming
Clearly, is it that old? It could be. The W album.
Gravel Pit.
The W album. It might
I remember having that on vinyl.
Gravel Pit would have been 2001,
2000,
2002,
2001. Yeah.
2001, 2002.
Probably.
Actually, maybe 03, 04.
I was gonna say maybe a bit later. Than
Yeah, 03,
2000.
04. 2000.
2000. That's what I'm
Wow.
saying. I remember spinning that vinyl when I had my first set of decks. Like it was, and that was 2000.
Wow.
Yeah,
But-
no. So that would be definitely something.
23 years ago, man.
Yeah, but bro, since then they've all had individual hits, so they've still stayed relevant to a degree.
They dropped that
Ghostface
track.
maybe, but
No, Logic got them all together to do Wu-Tang Forever.
but listen. Let me put into context what I'm saying. Like mass scale.
There's
Maintaining
there's
that,
still,
like-
there's still people, man.
Okay.
Still a big fan.
We'll see, but I genuinely feel like it's gonna be like 30 somethings, 40.
No,
somethings.
100.
Oh, yeah,
100.
yeah.
100%. I believe majority will be that age because
Yeah,
those
yeah.
are the live fans.
Yeah.
Like those are the people that grew up on that music. But definitely will.
But the most
find-
hardcore are going to be standing.
Yeah. And that's what I'm saying. Like if it's a vibe, and I think I
I
can
don't know
handle
about
it, I'll go down there.
Do you not think? Because they know what they're getting into, having to stand for the whole concert, but they want to go because they want to see him.
Bro, I mean, don't get me wrong. When I went to Nas in Amsterdam, that was a standing thing. There was nowhere to sit there.
Yeah, but that's Amsterdam.
Bro, it was still like 4 hours, B. Like, by the time, I mean, don't get me wrong, Nas probably did, what, maybe an hour and a half
Yeah.
himself.
Were
Yeah,
people
yeah.
moshing?
Bro, I was nowhere near. If you think I get close to the
No,
stage,
but-
I don't want to know. Like, I ain't interested. I found my little corner. We can see everything. I'm good.
Now,
Like,
for me, I'm like I'm in between. I'm in between. Like when there's certain tracks that come on, I want to be in the pit. Like literally be in the pit. I don't want to be standing on the side.
No. Don't get me wrong.
Protect
Dude,
Your Neck comes on, I'm there.
Dude, when we was in Dam, me and my brother, we went to Dam to see Nas, and we were like, let's say, and don't get me wrong, the spot wasn't, I don't know if you've been Melqueg. It's not massive.
No.
It's not massive, but it's like, have you been to Brixton? The O2 in Brixton?
No, I haven't.
All right, cool. So I went to see Kendrick there. It's pretty much similar size to the Melqueg. Like, you've got an upstairs, like a gallery where people can stand and look down.
Yeah.
But in reality, you don't really want to be there because once you now start being behind like 3 or 4 rows of people, it's kind of now I can't really see.
Yeah.
Whereas,
That's what the O2 Indigo was like.
Whereas if you're in the front, you're cool. So in Kendrick, we were like, me and Maurice went, we were not right in the front, but maybe no more than 5 rows out from where the stage is. You could literally see everything. You know what I mean? And there was people moshing in that, but that was still a younger crowd as well. Because that was like a 1 extra thing.
Yeah.
Whereas when I went to see the Nas thing, it was still more mature crowd. It was around the time he had done Life is Good.
Yeah.
So obviously, don't get me wrong, he did all the classics, did all of that, you know, everything, even did the Jay-Z, you know, Ether and all of that. But because obviously that was before they were like besties now or whatever. Because I heard he don't do that track no more.
He don't do it no more?
I heard he don't do that track no more. I heard they cool now. They don't do their diss songs no more. However,
that's interesting.
However,
I feel like that's part of the story, man. Like you have to. I mean, there was a whole load of disrespect. There was a whole lot of disrespect on that track. I mean, without a shadow of a doubt.
But yeah, at the end of the day, it's not that I don't want to be involved. I just don't want to be in the middle of the middle. Ain't nobody pushing me around. I don't want to be stuck in all of that. Nah.
Yeah.
And I don't mind being close to everything. I just don't want to be right in the thick of it.
I don't know. Like I
said, whereas the reason why I wouldn't go to the O2 to stand is depending on how long that concert is. I went to what was it? Some 1 Extra thing. Was it 1 Extra? Like, do you remember when 1 Extra does the UK live show things they used to do? Whatever that was.
Yeah. Like the big weekends.
Like the no. But it was like a specific thing. It was like it wasn't an awards, but it was like.
No, I know what you're talking about.
They did one in Leeds. I've been to the one in Leeds as well. I can't remember
like
what
a festival type or just a big concert.
So basically, the lineup would be like Krypton Conan, Miguel, bro, just bare random people stuck together. Yeah, bro, literally. It would be a bunch of UK donnies, but you'd have like a few headline people. I can't remember what it was called.
How you go from Krypton Conan to Miguel?
That was the lineup. I didn't make the lineup. I didn't choose that. I won these tickets. I just went. I was cool. It was free. Yo, I don't care. Yo, there was other people there, but I'm just saying those are like the time.
Those were the key acts he took away.
Yeah,
they really left an impression on him. Krypton Conan and Miguel.
They did. All right, cool. I hate y'all.
There we go.
Anyway,
to answer your question, I'm going Tuesday. There we go, man.
That should be good.
I'm looking forward to it, man.
I am too.
Yeah, really looking forward to it.
Should be.
And
good.
then just to quickly put a shout out in there for August, Reggae Land, man. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, that's gonna be dope.
You coming to that?
No, I didn't get tickets to that.
You can still get a ticket.
As you can see, Ash seems to be
part of the
that's
squad.
Not musically inclined, even though he's going to see Kendrick.
No, hold on.
To be fair, I'm going to that more so to see Fred again.
I know.
Was I supposed to get you a ticket?
No.
Okay, all right.
No, that wasn't on you.
I thought I slipped.
No.
You got my ticket, right?
Yeah, I got your ticket.
Oh, cheers.
I got your money as well.
Just
awesome.
checking.
Yeah, man. Let's go.
So what? Do I get the money back? I don't understand.
You don't.
I don't understand the
Point
I
is,
got your money too. Like, okay, I'll take both. Yeah, why not?
Point being, I wouldn't have taken your money.
I mean, no, I know that. I'm just double checking because I'm one of them people. Look, I know you good. You got my ticket. Just make sure when I need my ticket, you got my ticket.
100%. I'm really looking forward to it, man. It's,
no, you didn't
that's
slip
gonna
up
be
for
good.
me. You weren't supposed to get me.
We're doing the next day, right?
Sunday,
yeah.
Sean Paul day.
Who's Sean Paul?
Sean Paul's the headliner that day.
Bro, I'm not gonna lie to you. I wanted to see Beanie Man.
Yeah.
But at the same time, there was really no one else on that day that was worth seeing. Like, dude, you like when I say that, don't get me wrong, a lot of people probably gonna crud me down because there are some decent artists there. But I'm saying, like, I don't know majority of those artists. I know the headline. Whereas on the second day, you got Barrington Levy there as well.
Yeah.
You got some other people there as well. Your boy's gonna be there. What's his name?
My boy.
What's his name? The dude that rap with Sean Paul all the time. What's his name? He's supposed to be there as Vegas. So come on, man. Like, that's the option to see, really. If I'm gonna
100%.
lie, like, I like Beanie Man, but I can imagine the Beanie Man's one's gonna go.
Be real, like I've always wanted to see Sean Paul live. Like,
I don't really. Funny enough, I've probably never cared.
Nah, but for me, he was like a. I know some people.
He had a moment. He had a moment, and it was a time in our history, bro.
Yeah,
like we was young growing up them times, so
yeah.
I get it. But don't get me wrong. Funny enough, I'd go to a dance hall rave, but it's never been my thing to just go and watch a concert.
Yeah.
Of that, it's not my thing. I don't know why. Don't know why. I'm assuming it doesn't get down like a dance hall rave. I don't know why. But that's all. That's why I'm like, do I really just want to watch the good music, or do I want to actually participate?
Yeah.
So that's the difference. Whereas like with things like Nas and that, you ain't really like skanking to Nas. Like some people are. You're head bopping. You're taking it in. It's a different vibe.
Yeah, 100%.
You get what I mean? So that for me is why I would. Yeah. So I'm still looking forward to this Reggae Land thing, though.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. It's gonna be sick.
Because I am a fan, but I'm just not a fan like where I think, I want to go and see his show.
And every event I've been to at the Bowl, there was Eminem.
I saw that. That was
I went to
that. Was unbelievable.
I went to that one. That was really
then
good.
Jay-Z Linkin Park.
Never saw that one.
Yeah,
I wish I'd gone to that one because I was a big Linkin Park fan as well.
Yeah.
So I wish I'd gone to that one.
And now,
actually, hold on, whoa! I lie. I went to that one.
What, Linkin Park, Jay-Z?
Yeah, I did. I did go to that one. I didn't get a ticket though, but I do remember going to that one.
Well, look,
and the reason why I do remember going to that one was because my man done his thing. They had a moment, and then they did the album they had together.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember that now.
So this wasn't. Was this before they did a collaborative album?
No. This was their collaborative album.
This
was the tour of the.
Yeah.
But obviously, he would come out, do his like Jay-Z moment. Then you get a Linkin Park moment. Then you get the encore, do you want more, everybody together thing. Yeah.
The Black Album, basically.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It was dope. That was dope.
Mad.
That was actually dope. But I remember that. But the reason why that one didn't resonate with me as well as the Eminem one was because the Eminem one was actually a show.
Yeah.
Because Cypress Hill, do you remember? They were there.
Oh, they killed it.
Killed it.
They were and Exhibit. Exhibit was good.
Killed it. Exactly. And then I was upset because I heard the first day 50
came out,
and I was not.
First
there.
day was the only one that didn't go. Second day I had a ticket.
Second.
Third day I snuck
third.
in.
Yeah. We went the second and the
We
third.
went the second day, and then the third day we were offered tickets outside. I think they just had spare tickets. They were just giving them out outside at first.
Loads of people brought them outside.
Yeah. They weren't selling them. They were just like, do you want to go? Really?
Yeah. Anger
Really?
Management
That's
Tour, I
sick.
think it was called. Something like that.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Still got the ticket upstairs.
Oh, they did the D12 show as well. D12
I'll bring it
came
down
out.
for
They
the
did a
next-
show together as well.
Bro, that show was actually legit a good, like...
That was a really good concert.
Like when I think about it, like, I've been to shows. That wasn't a show. That was a concert. Do you get what I mean? There was props on stage. They had everything go. Bro, it was a big thing. It wasn't like when you actually think about it. I've been to a lot of shows and, bro, yeah, you got the screens on stage and the guys in the middle talking. Nah, this was something else. They had like, bro, do you remember the Eminem stage? They had like the Ferris wheel thing.
Yeah.
And all of that. Do you remember the big Cypress Hill bong thing? That they had the, bro, like it was a whole product. It was like watching, do you remember like obviously I never went, but I remember watching the DVDs of like the Up in Smoke tour.
Repeat.
It was like that, bro. It was like they'd come correct. Yeah, I liked it, man. And you don't really see that these days. More time you just see like shows.
There was a couple of great moments, right?
With what? The Eminem one?
The Eminem one.
Oh,
one of the
100%.
greatest moments was it was the last day, and I remember it started to rain, and then what's the Stan came on. That was a moment.
Oh, wow. When it started raining. Yeah.
It started raining.
Yeah, that would have been
On the third day.
And it was just a whole atmosphere.
The third
right.
one.
Yeah.
Yeah, the third day, yeah.
The second day that we went to, which you guys went to as well, that was the one where there was constant delays because of bottle fights, right?
Yeah. In the
top,
crowd,
the top
right?
tier would throw bottles down, the bottom tier were throwing bottles up, and it was turning into these massive.
Yeah, at one point it became.
I genuinely don't remember that.
Yeah, and they had to.
But
They
that was
delayed
closer
it.
to the end, though. That wasn't.
No,
at the
it was
beginning.
between the second support and Eminem, and they just kept delaying it. They
Cypress
kept
Hill
delaying.
and
They
Eminem,
brought
I'm sure it
out.
was.
They brought out. I think Cypress
Exhibit
Hill
came on
to
first.
distract
Cypress
the
Hill
crowd.
came out.
Yeah, it started after Exhibit, and then they brought out Cypress Hill. They had a long delay, and then Cypress came out to kind of hush the crowd and get everyone back into the music.
I remember that.
Then they had a big gap between them and Eminem because there was just so many bottles being thrown up and down.
That was a good man.
Yeah, man. That was a vibe.
It's funny
That was a full on vibe, man.
because everybody was there, but everybody didn't know each other.
I know.
Yeah.
Crazy.
No, I knew you.
Yeah.
What year was MJ there? And
So okay, I went to that as well.
what?
Yeah.
As in to the
As a
actual.
kid.
I was like here.
Yeah, he was a
Yeah.
kid.
And my sister
But you were
was
in the crowd.
in the crowd, so my sister was with her friend.
Were you the guy who picked up?
Probably.
Oh.
And threw over the back. No, I'm joking. So
Wow.
so my sister was with her friend, and her friend goes, "Oh, there's a concert.
Oh, there's just a concert on.
There's
down-
just
There's
a
a concert at the bowl, right?
I think there's some show on.
Yeah,
there,
some
guy.
show. Bear in mind, kids, like actual kids, right? So and I lived in Bletch, so this is literally just a walk over the roundabout to
Okay.
get there, right? So she goes, "Should we just go over?" Apparently, people are sneaking in. So we snuck. I mean, I'm like here. I don't know
No
how I didn't
way.
get picked up by social services or like escorted back home. I don't know. But I just remember being there, man. Crazy.
Wow.
Yeah.
If there's DVD evidence, somebody show us a little kid.
Yeah, mad.
Do you remember
Bon Jovi?
seeing him? Like,
Bon
do
Jovi-
you remember?
No, I don't really remember any of it.
Oh wow.
Bon Jovi.
Yeah, I remember when Bon Jovi performed there.
Yeah.
Do you know why? Because when all these happened, we used to drive. There was a lot less housing and all of that kind of stuff. So there were a lot of bridges where you could see the stage from
Yeah.
in Milton Keynes,
Yeah.
right?
And
And
you
people
could
used to
just
park up on them. You'd go to there. There'd be crowds
Yeah.
because you could hear the music
Yeah.
clearly,
Because you can hear the music
and you could
clearly
see
anyway.
the stage in the distance. You could see it.
Yeah.
And we used to go when those acts would be there and park up, and I remember it clearly. Remember it clearly, and you could hear certain songs.
Yeah.
Because I loved listening to MJ from like.
Foo
Yeah.
Fighters
I think it was like the
as well.
first music I listened to. If
Fighters,
anything.
yeah.
Foo Fighters was there as well.
Yeah, Foo Fighters.
Yeah,
I never
man.
got to go to that. I always wanted to go to one of the Ozfests as well, and I never went because I was into like System of a Down, and I had a period where I was really into rock music.
Yeah.
So I really wanted to go to an Ozfest, but I never did. There's a few bands that I would have loved to have been able to see. Now thinking about it,
Yeah. Mad. We've had a lot of good acts there, man. And you know what? I always wondered why things died down there. Like, why
It
didn't?
doesn't make sense.
It doesn't.
Because they've had, like you said, the names
like,
we've just mentioned.
Who's bigger than MJ?
But, bro, even
they
some
had
of the
Queen
names.
there before we were born.
But even the names you've mentioned after that, you're saying Bon Jovi's, you're saying Foo Fighters.
Elton John?
Those are big names.
Yeah,
man.
like legends.
You know what I mean? Those are big names
Elton
still.
John. Yeah. And then it just like 10 years. It was just
Well, it's now been bought by the Dons.
has it?
Yeah, it's going to be their new training facility.
Yeah, they're done with that. It's no
Yeah.
shows in them
The
cable.
bowl's going to be turned into the Dons training facility.
Lads, let's not.
Did you not know this?
How do you
I
not
do.
know this?
I don't know, man. Maybe I'm switched off. I don't know, but
Yeah, B.
that's mad. That
So
is
we better
absolutely mad.
enjoy Reggae Land and take as many pictures.
Is that at the
because
bowl?
it's the last
Yeah,
time
yeah,
you
that's
gonna
at the
be in
bowl,
the
yeah.
bowl, son.
No, I thought that was in like a Campbell Park thing.
Nah, it used to be.
Nah, it
Campbell
used to be.
Park.
Oh, I would have gone to that.
Yeah, you can still
Not
go.
too late.
Is
I
there
know
still
he said
tickets?
that like 3 times.
Yeah.
I'm saying it like it's sold. It's not sold out.
No, it's most of the tickets are sold out. I
Okay.
think there's still Sunday VIP tickets left.
Oh, okay.
If you get standard, you won't be with us.
Basically,
you VIP?
get VIP
We're
or
balling,
no.
mate. We're balling.
You get
doing
VIP
a
or
big
nothing,
act.
buddy.
Yeah.
It's meet Sean Paul or nothing.
Yeah. No, you don't get to meet him. You just get a dedicated area with clean toilets.
That's as VIP as you get, B. That's the most
Your toilets are
VIP.
clean.
Yeah, our
That's
toilets
the
are
difference.
clean. That's it.
That's as VIP.
Oh.
Like, I know it's going to be a mess. Like, I know the show is going to be a mess, but I
Yeah.
don't care. I like gritty,
It's
man.
just
Like,
gonna be a vibe.
yeah, it's going to be a
It's gonna be
vibe.
a vibe.
It really is. I cannot wait, man.
All right.
It's going to be a proper vibe.
Well,
But
let me know what the prices are, and I might.
Anyway, man, we started chopping it up about music, man. So, fast forward a little bit. We were talking off air around what we wanted to chop it up about, right?
Mhm.
So, we touched on something yesterday on the Attempted podcast
Yeah.
around how important it is to make the right choices when you're given opportunity in your prime, right? So that's how I will word it.
When do you define as your prime, though?
So we were talking a lot about entertainment industry,
Yeah, like
and
sports stars.
sports and things
Sports
like
stars,
that, right?
yeah.
So You get a lot of these guys signed very early. I mean, in football, it's
gotta be
before
early.
they're 20, right?
Yeah.
But a whole load of money's thrown at them. You look at a lot of rappers. How many stories do we know of rappers who are given big contracts at an early age, ball out, and then you never hear from them again? You know, and if we,
I think
if we,
that's changing these days, but yeah,
it is. You're right. I mean, especially with independent and all of that sort of stuff, right? And people taking their own publishing deals. But if we scale that down a little bit, just to normal society, I feel like what that's bred is this clear visibility of young millionaires, billionaires living, and you add influencers to that. We spoke about this in a previous podcast. You add influencers to that who constantly share images of having nice cars, clothes, women, all of these things, going on nice holidays, penthouses, balconies, all of that. I just feel like what we're left with is a bunch of people in their 20 somethings who are spending more than they're earning, or just making bad choices, financial bad choices, and
keep up
not
with
necessarily,
the Joneses.
yeah,
Almost.
keeping up with Joneses, and not necessarily building a good foundation for themselves. Imagine you saved every penny you could through your 20s, you get to your 30s, you're comfortable. You can start taking some further risks, and maybe even changing direction, because you've got a good
base.
base to sit on there, right? How many people make career changes in their 30s, or take big risks, or go on holidays, or do all of these things like extravagant holidays, because they realize they're in their 30s and they want to enjoy.
I think it's important to do that,
So
though. It's important to do that, to set that foundation. Yeah. I did that later on, but it's important
it depends.
to do that.
Yeah, that's why I said it depends on what you consider your prime, because your prime can be when you're young. If we're talking sports and things like that, it will more likely be when you're young. But then some people can make bad choices initially and then come out
and bounce back
and almost be in their prime later on. You get what I mean? Like, oh, I figured it out, but I figured it out at such a rate because of all the mistakes I've made. I'm able to catch up.
Yeah,
you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So it depends. I don't know.
So I look at we're all obviously from the corporate world, right? I look at a lot of the people that I was around in my 20s, and I look at where they are today, and because everybody was so close, and I was working in an office of about 500 people, and everybody knew everybody, and you know, to the point where you knew about people's personal lives and their ambitions and what they wanted to do, and everybody had all of these things that they wanted to go after. But I fast forward to today, and whether it's on LinkedIn, whether it's just through engagement, whether it's just keeping in touch, right? You see people who were who weren't making the best choices, who were focused on having the best car and the nicest clothes, and just focusing on keeping up this appearance of having everything, right? And today they're in a very difficult situation, and maybe they don't have the foundations that they need to have, or savings, or whatever the case is, right? And I feel like I look at within my community as well, right? A lot of young Pakistani boys, even as early as 17, 18, they want German whips. They want nice clothes. They want to go to Dubai. They want to do all of these things that they're seeing on Insta, and they want to Snapchat every second of it. Do you know what I mean? Like,
but that's how you can tell they're in that lifestyle. Yeah. Is you spot them very quickly because they all do the same generic thing.
Yeah.
There's like a generic pattern of places to go, things to buy, brands to wear, cars to drive, brands to have, like
places to eat, all of that.
You can spot them from a mile away, people who live that lifestyle.
And the money they're throwing, at this, lads, is incredible. And I think, so I was sitting with one of my cousins, right?
Yeah.
And he was struggling to find a job or whatever. So I said, look, I'll line you up with this, and this is the start of a career, right? This isn't the end goal, but I promise you, listen, learn, stick to the right people. I will give you advice. If you ever want impartial advice, I can be your mentor. I don't mind any of that, right? But in a year's time, because you've got no major overheads, you can have enough to go buy yourself a flat, put it on rent. Do that every year for the next 5 years. You know, you've set yourself up for life.
Yeah, I get that. I think it's a fine balance though, because sorry.
Just to quickly add, the reason why I mentioned that, I'm so sorry, but the reason why I mentioned that is because he has opportunity. And I'm telling him not to waste it. His situation could change at any moment. He could go ill. The people that are paying for his upkeep and his his roof over his head, all of that, may not be around much longer. Like all of these things. Like if he works and he gets to keep 100% of his earnings, no bills, no nothing.
Take advantage of it.
But it's as I mean, that's the topic of the discussion. It's just a different mindset. There's not much of that mindset now of like, if I bank it, people can't look at that number and just be happy with that number. There's a lot of people who, the bigger that number gets, they're like, I can go and do this, I can go do that, and spend it here and spend it there. And for some people, once you crack that seal, that's it.
But
like,
that's
spending just keeps going.
That's also, see, so like with me, a lot of people that I've observed, I find they already spend their money before they got it.
Yeah.
A lot of people already mentally have already decided, when I get a check, I'm buying them new shoes, I'm doing this, I'm doing that. They've already mentally, like, bruh, when I think about money, the only thing I think about is paying my bills.
Yeah, that's the same as me, my overheads.
And I don't mean it as in, like, I'm thinking about it like it's stressing me out, but I think, like, that's the number I need. Like, if I go in my banking app, the first thing I look at is what is coming out.
Yeah.
Like, yo, what's that? The tab that tells you what's coming out in the next like month or so, and you're like, all right, cool. So the figure I need at the bottom is this.
Yeah.
As long as that's good, the rest we can figure it out.
Yeah, that's it.
Whereas, so for me, that's the way I look at things. The problems is my first thing I need to tackle. Whereas a lot of people I know, they ain't thinking about their problems.
Yeah,
they thinking about the next nice new dress. Like, I got people that.
I need payday to come. I've got that night out.
Online, clicking and buying. Not even buying, but you're window shopping online. And I'm like, you spend all your time doing this, but all that is going to do is make you want to actually spend the money as soon as you get it, because you've already seen the things that have attracted you. You get what I mean?
No, but then you're saying, like, how are you guys shopping like this all the time? And you get that answer of, oh, no, I just Klarna.
Or I got a credit
card.
Klarna. Or
I just put it on Klarna.
Klarna.
Yeah, the finance, like, you can split payments, like every retailer uses Klarna.
Yeah.
So a lot of young people now be like, oh yeah, it's fine, I'll put it on Klarna.
But do you get to take it before you pay it off?
Yeah. Because you pay it over 3 months.
Layaway. It's like, yo, see,
everything's available on Klarna.
I don't know about no layaway, y'all.
Yeah, everything's available on Klarna. Like, what is it?
But layaway, you couldn't take your item. You
had to pay it off, and then you could take it.
But it was a way of holding it.
That was the difference.
It was a way of holding it.
And I actually like that better.
Whereas now they
that
just like...
teaches you the lesson of having to pay it in full before you get the goods.
But guess what? They couldn't add interest to it.
They could.
They couldn't.
Even better.
Because,
but mind you, that's how Klarna get around it. It's always 0%.
But that's how they then became... they went into the way we now look at things. Is we're happy to give you stuff up front because then we can charge you interest on it.
Yeah.
Whereas before it was like, we're just holding this for you. Technically, we don't get anything out of the deal apart from holding something we could probably sold already.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. So yeah, I do get why they do it, but
but a lot of them do it because they'll get it on Klarna, get the products, and then return them.
Yeah,
and then it gets closed. But what they don't realize is that's credit check every time.
Yeah.
And that will have an impact. Like if you just keep,
Does it?
Yeah, because if you're taking loads of finance deals and you're not,
of course, yeah.
I'm sure it'll have some sort of.
I guess it's
Actually, I don't know.
It's for me, it's insanity. Like it got a repetitive cycle of, I'm getting paid at the end of this month. I know I'm gonna buy X, Y, and Z, or even worse, throwing it all on a credit card and saying I'll just deal with it later. Like, or this is the level of insanity that you get to, and it's like stages of it, right? First, it's I've got a job, I really want to get these things, I start buying these things. And then those things aren't enough, or the salary isn't enough for the things that you now want. So then you start to build on it, right?
So that's what they say. They say more money, more problems, isn't it? And what they mean by that isn't that you actually get like people knocking on your door with problems. What they mean is you end up living within your means, but your means raise. And every time you raise your means, you now have to produce the thing to cover those means.
Yeah.
And, so it's like footballers, for instance, or basketballers, for instance, where they had a lucrative career for 10, 12 years, made decent money, but now they've retired. And, okay, let's say some of them aren't the smartest people, so they don't invest in something that's always going to then make sure their money doesn't go anywhere. But you're still living in this big house. You still have all these expenses.
Yeah.
But the money's not coming in anymore.
Yeah.
And that's the difference. It's not that you don't have a pile of money. Yeah, you do. But a pile of money, bro, a pile of money can go like that.
I was watching.
You get what I mean? A pile of money, like you can sit on
yeah.
a pile of money. It doesn't mean that that's not gonna disappear, bro. The wind's gonna blow, and that pile of money's
So
gone.
I was watching Southpaw the other day. You ever seen that movie?
Yeah. Good
Unbelievable
Great
movie, man.
Great movie.
Love that movie. And I didn't even know. Just as a side note, you know Jake Gyllenhaal's character, Eminem was supposed to play that.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
Is that the one where his wife? Something happens to his wife, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're about to give it away, but
Yeah.
But yeah.
but I mean I think that's in the Bible. But it's in that
That's a
he
good
loses
film.
everything, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's a really good film.
He loses everything.
But that's the thing is, and they say it's a problem for a lot of these people who go and buy like these huge houses, lottery winners and stuff like that. Is they think just you buy a house like that and it's
that's
done.
it.
No, the maintenance monthly on that is now like tens of thousands.
Yeah.
And now,
to make sure
now that's your more problems. Yeah, you buy a big car, you got to pay the fuel that comes with it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's just the thing that happens. But we get into this world of, I want the next thing. I want the next thing.
Yeah, I want a
the next
Bugatti.
thing.
Oh, but you didn't
want the
realise
next
that the
thing.
tyres cost 10 grand.
But it's not
and
even
the
about
service
that.
is
No,
100
the
grand.
thing is this. It's not even about whether you realize or not. The thing is about, are you able or are you going to be able to actually upkeep it? That's the difference. The difference in lifestyles with people isn't, bro, the reason why you see those rich people in gray t-shirts and khakis and not looking like they've got money is because, dude, that means they're not spending money. Do you see what I mean? And if they're not spending money, then guess what? They have money. And that's the end of it. So, you know, you got to live within your means, number one, but you also have to understand that, bro, the thing about the world these days is no one was ever taught finances. Unless you're an accountant, and even most accountants don't actually get taught personal finance until they go and study accountancy. Do you get what I mean? And even then, by then, it's probably, you might have the worst habits or the best habits, who knows? But the thing is this, no one's taught money management. It should be the biggest thing that people teach. Finance should be the biggest thing you get taught in life, as far as I'm concerned. If you don't know how to manage money and you don't know how to control your debt or deal with credit, that's a big problem because you can end up under a C.
No, but there's a reason why it's not taught.
Oh yeah, 100%. Because the people that want money want money. No, I get that. But what I'm saying is, but the thing is this: in life, though, we can educate ourselves. We're not stupid. We should be able to educate ourselves. And if we can't educate ourselves, and this is where some people do get lost, not everybody, but if you can't educate yourself, then you should invest in people that you know are educated enough to help you with your situation. Now, sometimes that goes the wrong way for athletes and people like that because they'll end up with shady managers or shady people around them that only want what's best for them, not best for the person. But generally speaking, that's really what you have to do. And you've got to take it upon yourself as a person because that is the problem in life. The minute you attain certain success, to go backwards is almost seen as failure. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, so even in like, let's say my industry, if you become a 70K biller, to go back to billing 20K, it's like, what happened to you? You washed up. Like, what happened
It's so
to you?
true, though.
You washed up. What happened to you? Bro, you can't go back. You can only go forward. But every time you go forward, you can't go back no more. You see what I mean? Mm-hmm. Can't be doing like crazy and then coming. So that's the problem. The problem is, and the thing in life is, the smart people find ways of having to deal with it without them having to deal with it. Yeah. Whereas the stupid people will buy that property and deal with it.
After.
Now I got to pay the thing.
They say,
man. Okay, just pay it.
So they
Just
say
pay it.
ignorance is bliss, right? And youth is ignorance. You grow, you learn, you build knowledge, and then you understand, right? And if the books don't teach you and people don't teach you, life will teach you, right? And this is the thing I feel like should be taught alongside money management and all of these other things as well. Like, life will hit you, man. Like, life will, like, you think you're up now. There's a famous Tom Hanks saying, he did an Actors Round the Table where somebody said to him, you know, what would you tell your younger self? And he said, you've seen this. I know you've seen this. We spoke about this before. He said, you know, this too shall pass. Like, you think you're up. You think everything's good. This too shall pass. You think you're down and out and everything is bad and it's the end of the world. This too shall pass. Like, but the point of that is that bad times will come. Like, they will pass and they will. But if you've got a good foundation, if you got a decent amount of money in your bank account, you've made some wise choices that breed longevity in your money and your sustainability, then it's gonna mean that those falls just don't hurt as much.
Yeah, 100, and that's
You see
what I
what I'm
tell.
saying,
Like,
man?
dude, it was even. I tell people all the time, and I think we've had this conversation. Your highs are your highs,
Mm.
and enjoy them. But know that, bruh, you better be putting money away because the highs ain't always there.
Yeah.
Yeah, don't get me wrong. The lows don't necessarily have to be low, like, oh my God, I'm broke. But the lows might just be, dude, things just aren't moving right now.
There's always going to be hiccups.
Do you get what I mean?
There's always going to be slow periods.
So even if this is your base, you're going to get up here. You might not get below your base, but when it comes back to being on your base, you're going to struggle because when you were up here, you've made decisions that were trying to get you further. Now you're here. So the thing, like I said, is you got to be ready to save money, put money to the side, or even if it's not money, but you have to be ready to have opportunities ready to take advantage of when those dips come.
You need asset.
Yeah.
You need some sort of asset.
You know what I
whether
mean?
it's liquid money, whether it's property, wherever it is, you need.
Even if it's opportunity, even if it's, look, man, I've got something set up where, look, I got a company in this place that's willing to set me up and do something with me, and that's my next opportunity. So when this thing is not going right, that might not be the high, but it's going to make sure I don't ride no lows over here. You see what I mean? So whatever the situation
There's
may be.
always resets. Always.
Yeah, 100%.
No one lives the same. I try and say to everyone, like, life is so temporary.
So
like, he basically... Neus showed me the whole path of, like, the highs and the lows. Like, it's just natural to have good times and bad times. It just happens. And you've just got to ride that kind of wave of it is what it is.
Yeah.
It'd be like that sometimes.
My famous words. It is like, what it is. And it
is what it is.
And it'd be like that sometimes. But the side of it that I look at is that it's exactly everything's temporary. Like your job, your lifestyle, whatever, where you live.
You could be doing something totally different. And like we were even just saying a minute ago, I was like, I might disappear. And he's like, yeah, we'll see you in 10 years. And I'd be like, as my eyes live.
Yeah.
And you'd be like, what you been doing? And it's like, yo, I came here.
I was like 10 years down the line, you just walk into a bar in like the Philippines and he's the barman.
Yeah.
And that's something I'd believe. Like one day he'd just decide to do. Just be like, you know what?
Where y'all been?
I'm on the quiet
what took you so long to find me? I've been leaving clues. Y'all ain't here? Yeah, but
because I've said that to people before. They're like, I'll be like, I've got a friend in this industry, does really, really well for himself. And they were like, does he want to do this? Does he want to start his own thing? And I was like, no, actually, his ideal thing would just be like run a shop somewhere or something like that. And they look at me like, what?
Yeah.
And I'm like, makes him happy.
Yeah.
But it's not
It
just
makes
about
him
happy.
happy.
But we spoke about this. Content.
It gives that
You
content.
have to be content. And as long as you have your safety net, your stash in the bank, your investments, your opportunities, whatever it is you have lined up, then, bro, enjoy the rest of it by being relaxed. Like, dude, I just want to relax, B. I don't want stress in my life, B.
And we've talked about this, I think, on another episode. I don't know if we talked about it off camera or on camera, but we've said about everyone has a different level of happiness. Some people are happy living that life.
Yeah, it was a podcast.
Yeah, some people are happy living off credit cards and debt and finance. And some people are happy living off 10K. Some people are happy living off 100K. We can look at someone else's lifestyle and say, how do you do that? Like, for example, when you were explaining it all and you said about, influencers doing all the traveling, the eating, the this, that, the rest of what you said, for some reason, all I was in my head going, man, that must be an exhausting life. Like being a really followed influencer.
Not necessarily. Because it depends on what you're getting out of the deal.
No, I think it is. I agree with Ash.
If you think about... Yeah, go on, sorry.
Yeah, no, it's the Kardashians said it, right? Mm-hmm. This is the hardest thing to do because wherever you go, you have to constantly maintain that appearance. And then not only that, but you can't get anything wrong.
Yeah.
You literally cannot get anything wrong. The minute you slip up, the minute you make a mistake, the minute there's reason to doubt who you are, it's all over. So they live in that fear. It's like aristocrats, royal family. They are constantly in fear of public opinion changing about them because they know they lose everything.
Yep.
At that point, and that's the irony in all of this is, the followers hold the power.
Exactly.
It's such a crazy paradox, isn't it?
That's a great representation. In everything,
Yeah.
the majority hold the power.
Yeah.
But a lot of people don't realise
Don't realise that. I mean,
Like,
that's a whole nother podcast,
yeah.
isn't it?
That's a whole. That's a deep dive podcast.
But as I said, dude, the thing we do in this life, and this is one thing you have to know: humans, as you pointed out a minute ago, we all want different things, and we're all happy with different. Like, there's some things that I wouldn't put up with that you would probably be happy to put up with because you don't see it as an issue. Whereas there's some things I'm probably happy to put up with that Ash might not put up with, not for any particular reason. It could just be for, I don't want to do that.
You know what? He's blown my mind.
Yeah.
I've been saying this to my community for so long.
Nah, dude.
What he's just said there.
It's the realest thing.
Like,
Yeah.
it's a just as a side note, right?
Yeah.
I keep doing this, but
No, you're good, bro.
but-
This is a convo. We gotta
Yeah.
have these.
so I believe there are cultural norms that are accepted that are genuinely seen as, oh, that's just life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is just normal.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there saying, like, no.
No, dude, bro.
It really isn't like this. You
Bro,
don't have to live this way.
So
Yeah.
remember that to a degree, certain human beings on this world or certain cultures on this world have been programmed. And when I say that, I don't mean it like in some matrix code program, but I mean like, especially in a world that began with, let's say, I don't want to go as far as saying oppression, but to a degree, oppression. Yeah, in the sense of countries invading other countries, taking over countries, trying to lead them. And we're not just talking about countries, dude. We're talking about civilizations from way back in the day. So at some point, people force their agenda on other people.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, to a degree where you start to feel like certain things are normal. Because, hey, I've been living in this pain, this strife all this time. So dealing with these things is normal to us. Do you get what I mean? So that's what I mean by programmed anyway. So like we're saying, I might have, or a situation might happen here. One of us is happy because that's mine. I could do that. Like, I've done way worse. Do you know what I mean? Whereas everyone is all, I would never do that. Why would you do that? Like, man, don't do that.
Yeah.
And that's all I'm saying. So you are 100% right. There's definitely, I believe there's that mentality in a lot of different cultures. But I would say at the end of the day, you know, it's what you're happy with, isn't it? Everybody has their own thing, you know. Same when we were talking about being content. Everyone's idea of content is always going to be different. Everyone's idea of what they can put up with, what they're happy to put up with, you know, that's the difference between stable governments and unstable governments. It's what the people are happy to put up with and what they're not happy to put up with. You know what I mean? Yeah. So even with the aristocrat thing you just mentioned, like at the end of the day, if public opinion changes, even though 9 times out of 10 the public don't actually care, which is the funniest thing, unless the people are doing something crazy. Yeah. The only time the public are really gonna change their opinion is if Antoinette ain't giving no one no bread and it's off with her head. You know what I mean? That's really the only time like you're getting revolutions and things like that sparking. Not
Depends on the people.
Be minor.
Depends on the society.
Depends
on the society.
But I'm saying for something to really go that drastic, they would really be having.
It depends on society because it happens in certain countries now. Like for example, take the
Pakistan's
UK.
a great example right now.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
If you take the UK, for example, if you take England or the UK in general, if they wanted to change something to do with pensions or the retirement age or something like that, there's anger, there's grumblings, but we just crack on.
Yeah.
Like there's, I can't believe, they're doing this and well, I've got work, see you later. Got work, see you later. A couple of marches. You go to France and they go, we're only going to up the pension by this. We're going to do this to your pension, or we're going to do this to the retirement age, up it by like a couple of years, 1 or 2 years, and all this.
Yeah,
like, right, burn the city down.
Yeah.
Burn the city down. What are you talking about?
It's so true.
Burn the city down. Like, literally, that's what they do.
The same.
But
they start trashing cities,
but
man.
guess what?
Literally.
But guess what? Same thing I just said a minute ago. These are countries that have been burning their cities down from day one.
Yeah.
This is a taught behavior. They're programmed to go, revolution.
Yeah. True.
That is what they're taught to do, man.
Okay.
Like, so when the time comes, whereas English people ain't taught to do that. Same with a lot of the places where English people took over. Think about it, dude. All the places that England conquered, a lot of the people are very similar in the way they behave. I would say that. Not necessarily in their cultures. Their cultures are totally different, but the way they,
sense.
I don't know.
the way they carry
I don't know.
themselves, bro. The way you will find certain cultures carry themselves because they were colonized by the English. They've learned behaviors from the English.
So post-colonization, you're talking.
Yeah,
Okay, yeah.
yeah.
Pre-colonization,
No, absolutely not, bro. Come on, absolutely absolutely not. I'm talking post. I'm talking after you've put your imprint on everybody.
The British turn
You know
up
what
and
I
they're
mean?
already all sat there like Brits drinking.
Jolly good. We've been waiting for you. Nah, bro. I'm talking after. I'm talking like so like when you see like for instance, you know, India, Pakistan, that type of area there, the English took over that type of area. Nigeria is another example. Bro, the way the setup and the structures of how I've spoken to people and things are, it's very similar. Like we grew up in a very similar vibe. Yes, our cultures were different. Our country's geography is different. Things are different. The weather's different. But that period of time where things were happening, we were going through the same type of things.
Yeah.
And that is an identifying thing. So when you now see people from those backgrounds, that's why, bro, come on, man. That's one of the reasons why I identify with some of the things that we talk about, is because there are a lot of similarities in there where it's like, bro, man, if I didn't know better, I grew up in Pakistan. Like, you get what I mean? Like, if you didn't tell me any different, I might have grown up in Pakistan. Yeah. That's all I'm saying. Is like, geez, like, oh, there's a lot of similarities that we were taught or imprinted on us, on our cultures, that we still hold till today. Yeah. So the level of like not being able to kick up a fuss. Oh, you know what? We just crack on. That's something you would have learned from the people. Like, hey, stop crying, crack on. Yeah. You know what I mean? Whereas, like I said, you go somewhere else where, nah, man, we burn it down every time. We ain't on that.
True. So in Pakistan, they do load shedding, right? So the electricity goes out multiple times a day, right? Just think about what that does to the economy alone, right?
Oh, we get that. We get that.
And what happens is during the summer, these guys take it out sometimes for like 6 hours at a time in 35 to 40 degree heat.
You get that, B.
Right? Get that. And you're lucky that, especially if you're in cities, because all the houses are congested, made of concrete, so you get coolness in the houses, right? So you're okay. You probably get some situation where you got a fan, or I don't know, whatever, how you'd make it work, right? Some manually rotated thing. But the point is, when it gets to a point of we're fed up or a bunch of people die, they start burning tires in the street, blocking roads, starting to attack the military, the police, everything. They go to the
and
plant.
Does it change?
They go to the plant. It changes for a few months, and then back
there we go.
A few weeks, should I say, and then back to normal.
Whereas,
but
bro,
it's insanity,
bro. Whereas us in Nigeria, that same stuff happened to us. They cut the light for fun, bro. Do you know Nigeria supplies 2 other countries in Africa electricity, and yet we cut our own electricity to our own citizens because of whatever stupid reason? Yeah, bro. And guess what we do? We buy generators, we buy kerosene lamps, we put candles,
UPSs,
and we just carry on, bro. We just get on with it. Ain't no burning no town down. Ain't no going crazy about that. We just go, crack on.
Same in Pakistan. They're so fed up of it. Everyone's just got UPSs and generators now. Like, it's just because this ain't gonna change, right? So let's just finance this problem, and it's just.
But does it not bring? So I always think in those situations, that's where you birth like modern era, next gen wealth individuals, or next gen, Bill Gateses or people like that. Do you know what I mean? So the next top 10 wealthy people, they come out of countries where they've gone from quite difficult situations to they're developing. So, for example, it would take one or a handful of people to go, let's tackle this issue.
Yeah, so it's interesting you say that. That's given birth to Imran Khan, right? And it's mad because he's up against it right now.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, I don't want to get into all the politics of but he is probably one of the greatest leaders of our time, like globally. What he's going after, what he's trying to change, the relationships he's building. And I don't say this as a proud Pakistani. I see the way the guy's moving, and I see the global support that he's got.
Do you think that's in some way to do with the influences he's had from living in the West or living outside of the country?
Yes.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, definitely. Travel broadens the mind, and I think
100%.
he's seen enough of the world. He led Pakistan to the 1992 World Cup and cricket World Cup, and his cricket career alone meant that he traveled a lot. He was married to Jemima Khan, and she's from like an aristocratic family and very well connected.
Well, he would have met a few people. He would have been around.
Definitely.
I was literally stood behind him once in a queue at an airport, but I was too intimidated to be like.
Yeah, I was on a plane with him once.
Yeah, it was literally, we were in LA.
Yeah,
We were in the passport control queue, and he was stood right in front of us, and I was like,
This guy has, again, another side note, Jen, sorry, but assassination attempt, kidnapped multiple times. His house has been demolished.
wow.
His family have been threatened. I don't say this, but anyway, there was outside influence that paid every single one of his MPs to walk away from him. He lost his entire government overnight.
Wow.
And then he rebuilt his government. And then they arrested every single one of his MPs, locked him up and said, we won't release you until you denounce Imran Khan. 90% of them done it. Like, it's just, that's when you know you're doing something right.
But this is the thing, like
When the system is that rigged against you, like that's when you know you're doing something right. But the reason why Pakistan is in that situation, I don't want to speak for Nigeria here, but typically it's down to corrupt governments, man.
Yeah, 100%.
yeah,
Corrupt
most
governments.
countries
Like,
that have that situation.
We've got to clear that mind.
2023, you're taking electricity, which, let's be, by all intents and purposes, is a human right to have electricity, right? Or access to electricity, at least.
Only in Western worlds.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was about to say,
But 100%. But let's be honest, does the world function without electricity?
There's places.
There are places.
does the world function without electricity? Well,
It doesn't.
It does.
it did at one point.
It did at one point, but you man are living in some past world. Like I've been to the deepest parts of Pakistan, and I'm telling you, places that didn't embrace electricity
Have electricity, yeah.
they have it now, or they have it now.
Yeah.
So
right.
I get it. I get what you're saying, but
No, we're being pedantic because the bottom line is could we function without electricity right now?
no,
I could,
you
but
couldn't do this podcast.
I could function.
Well, you could do this podcast.
No, yeah.
Just like yelling through the streets.
Bro, there's
By the sounds of it, you wouldn't be able to work out your finances if you didn't have
there's
electricity.
There's other media. There's other media, bro. The thing is this. What you guys are saying, I get it. And you're right. In the world we live in now, avoiding electricity would be hard. But, bro, we lived without electricity. So,
Nah.
And there's still places.
I get
No,
it.
Dude,
we
there will
would.
still be places.
Think about the context in which I'm
but it
saying
would-
it in.
There
No,
will
we
still
would,
be
but it would
places.
take such a
I'm
length
not
of
doubting-
time
I'm
of
not doubting- no, I'm not
adapting
doubting that.
to
I'm
that
just
life.
saying, if we're
It's
being
possible.
technical with the term, yes, you can.
Okay.
All right?
Okay, you can survive without electricity.
But in this world of
And
ours,
next
in this
week's
day and
episode,
age-
it's
next
hard.
week's
This day and
episode,
age-
Neus is coming back and he's going to tell us how he survived without electricity for the next
He'd be
week.
like, since the last episode.
Easy.
Yeah.
So look,
It's summer. We good. We don't need to make fires.
yeah, but in the context in which I'm talking about, a government only takes something that essential away from its people for financial gain.
Or for
There is
control
no
of
other-
some
yeah.
sort.
No, but there's no other
Yeah.
explanation.
It's financial.
I hear what you're saying.
Hence
Or
why I
control.
just-
Or control.
Bro, nah,
Some people
dude,
do it just to...
But hence why I said, dude,
But for
how
load shedding,
are we supplying two different countries? We making money out of that deal, ain't we? That's why.
What is load shedding?
Their power never
load shedding is
their power never cuts.
so
Bro.
that's what it's referred to as load shedding, as I understand it. There is a threshold for how much output there is for electricity, right?
And once they hit that, they
are-
switch it off.
They turn it off, and then there's like
It's almost like building it back up again.
yeah.
Okay, but
Yeah.
how do they
That's
make
how
money
it's-
off of that?
But that's how it's sold.
Surely they make more money off
I
of
believe it's,
giving them electricity.
There are certain sectors in Pakistan, I can only talk for Pakistan, there are certain sectors and places in Pakistan where electricity never goes, constantly supplied. We also have British built dams which produce an immense amount of electricity, right?
Wow.
And there were further dams built in Pakistan where people in Pakistan were told all the tax money is going to go on this, all public funds are going to go on this, so we can make electricity free for you, right? All of these ideas were sold. It was never free. Electricity is more expensive now than it's ever been, and they're still cutting it. So I think it's exactly for those reasons. They're supplying and
supplying.
selling electricity to other places
or
in the
to
world.
certain parts of the country. Certain parts of the country are just like, bro, we never get. Yeah, you might cut somebody else's, but you ain't cutting ours.
By the south, Pakistan is landlocked, isn't it? So it's surrounded by Afghanistan and Iran and a bunch of. Is it Iran? Isn't the north of Pakistan? I don't know. Anyway, the point is that.
Go on, why not?
Why not? Just stick it in there.
We're bordered.
There's a bunch of countries surrounding Pakistan, right? So they will 100% have energy deals with those countries.
Yeah, I mean,
Anyway.
what is it? Is it France that has an energy cap on pricing? They have literally a cap on their pricing.
Germany do as well.
Because obviously, Viva la Revolution, they'll burn the place down otherwise.
We built this city on burning it down.
So they have a cap on their energy, yet we provide so much profit to France's biggest energy provider because they provide energy to the UK and there's no cap here.
That's mad.
Yeah.
It's absolutely mad.
Yeah, we pay like a crazy amount more than the French people do to the same company
That's crazy.
for the same energy.
But maybe that's why the French people can pay less because we're paying
Offsetting it.
the lion's share of it.
We're
right?
offsetting it.
Yeah.
No, it's
Let's
just...
not get into why France can pay less for a lot of things because I could talk about that one. I don't want to talk about that.
Yeah, you're right. So could I. Anyway, lads, we digress significantly.
Oh, really? We kind of just went left a bit. But yeah, at the end of the day, it's still to do with, the opportunities in it. At the end of the day, the reason why we got to Nigeria and Pakistan's electric light situation is down to the fact that at the end of the day, it's, the opportunities that you're given. But
What a detour, sorry.
at the end of the day, no, real talk. At the end of
It's
the
just
day,
the way you explained it.
left.
So the way we ended up in the energy of Pakistan.
but at the end of the day, but dude, it's still relevant. It's still relevant. And the reason why it's relevant is because at the end of the day, even if you think about it, if you were to what you were saying, in those kind of countries where things like that happen, hopefully that breeds the next generation of.
That's what I'm saying. Like,
but at the same time,
the next opportunity
it still ties into the fact that in some of those countries, it might be hard for those next opportunity people because they might not have
the government squashing it,
or the understanding of taking the best opportunities, taking advantage of their opportunities.
But this is the thing. So on the side of that, where we're saying about educating, right? I also believe that's partly to do with them waiting for someone to tell them, rather than them going to look at it. So, for example, whenever I speak to my dad, he gets so frustrated when I'm talking about a subject. I'm like, but I don't know about that. And my dad will be like, but you live in a generation now where he goes, Ash, I've utilized yours and the next generation's tech so much more than you guys are yourself. Like it's so easy now to just find out anything you want to find out. You can educate yourself on anything.
Yeah.
He was helping me to look for jobs in my industry. By the end of it, he knew more about my industry than I did. Wow. About how to start a business in it, how to operate it, everything. Yeah. He was like, oh, did you know you could do this? And there's companies where you can outsource this and you could do that. Like you could set up one overnight and just do it like this. I'm like, what do you mean? He goes, do you not know this stuff? Like, and I did, but I was amazed he knew it in such detail. He was like, Ash, there's YouTube, there's Google, there's this, there's that. You can educate yourself on anything. Yeah. And that's the problem. A lot of young people now are waiting for someone to come and tell them and educate them on it. But there are young people out there who are like, I do want to know about finance, so I'm going to go and teach myself about it.
Yeah, 100%.
I do want to know about trading, so I'm going to go teach myself. So you've got all these young kids trading and doing this and doing that because you can.
I mean, when I think about how I've developed in my career, it's all been through online learning. And this online learning is available to anybody.
Exactly.
Literally anybody. The degree I'm doing right now is through a company that anybody can access. I mean, if you go privately, obviously my company's financing my degree, but if you go through it privately, there's a fee to pay. Far less than what most universities would charge you, but it's still available. You can literally become... So I'm doing AWS architect. I'm an Amazon Web Services architect, right? And that's to complement the master's degree, right? By the end of doing those 3 courses, I will be a certified AWS architect. I'll be able to walk into companies and say, you want to implement Amazon Web Services? let me know where you want to start. And I could build a whole plan for them and help them from a technology standpoint to build that stack and get them to where they need to get to. And the base salary for a AWS architect is 90K, right? Now, I'm not doing that because I want to become an architect. No, I'm doing it because consultancy is the thing for me moving forward, right? And they said to me, you have to do a learning path as a part of this degree. What do you want to do? And AWS was all the buzz, right? It's bigger than Google, bigger than Microsoft, bigger than all of them, right? Most companies globally are taking.
It's a future proof.
Yeah, it is. So for me,
Well,
it was a
for
given.
now, it's future proof.
Yeah, for now. And for me, it was a given, right? Technology has changed significantly since I started this and things have developed. But the point is, all of that's available online. That AWS practitioner course, about 2K. 2K you put into that now, and you can walk into a 90K job.
Yeah, I've got a cousin who created his whole career off of doing it. Like he literally, so he was working in like, I'm not going to name the name, but like one of these sandwich shops, like a coffee and sandwich place.
Yeah.
Right. So he'd work in one of those places, and he wanted to get into app development, like web development, app development.
Yeah.
So he taught himself app development.
Yeah.
At home, just researching it, looking up online and just learning on his own computer app development.
Yep.
To a point where he had a good enough base knowledge where he approached a company as an entry-level position to do app development.
Yeah.
From there, he ended up going to work for another company, or then went straight to a car company that's very well known, like a car sales company, like a reseller, very well known reseller that was blowing up at the time. But at the time he joined them, they were just an online thing. So to join them, they were offering like share options and stuff like that. And this is now a very well-known UK-wide reseller, and he's actually left that now and still has his shares and everything in it.
Wow.
But he's now in a really big position doing, his development side of things as a senior developer, and it's purely from learn from home because
I was about to say it's that easy. It's not easy, is it? But
No,
It's
but it-
time.
but
It's
it-
time
yeah,
and
it's
work.
time. It's time and effort.
It's time and work. Everything is time and work, though. It's just what do you put your time into.
yeah, this goes back to the whole everything's temporary, good and bad. You have your good times and your bad times. It's not really bad times. It's you will have resets throughout,
Yeah.
and
You just need to
you have
adjust.
to have the
You just gotta
patience, the
adjust.
adjustment.
Consistency,
And-
man.
When we said about that, what did you say? Was it complacence? Not complacence. When we were saying about having a shot.
Content.
Content. So the reason I like the whole content thing is that I was saying everyone has a different level of happiness, and that was, and I've mentioned something my dad taught me, and then I went looking for what was my content happiness,
Yeah.
and I built my content happiness at my base level pay. That was like years back.
Yeah.
So everything from there is just great. It's a bonus, but I know I can always go back to that. Like I lived in a flat. I now live in a house. If something changed where I had to sell the flat,
And I think that's how you know what content is. Because content is when you know, bruh, I'm good no matter what.
yeah.
I'm good no matter what.
I'm now in a situation where everything's a blessing. I love it, but I know if I had to go back,
Yeah,
I'd
I'm
still
good.
be happy
I'm
living
good
in my
no matter
flat
what.
with
I'm
my other
gonna figure
half.
it out. I'm gonna figure it out.
I'll figure it
I'll
out.
figure it out.
I literally, I didn't have to do it to an extreme level, but I remember after my father passed away, right? So we're 2 years down the line now. I remember because we found out suddenly. It wasn't like he was ill or whatever. I think we spoke about this in a previous podcast, but the point is, at that moment, I had a choice, which was, do I do the usual, take a few weeks off of work, go back and crack on? And I thought, nah, this is Pops. Like he was a hero for me. Do you know what I mean? So it hit me hard, and I thought, you know what? For the first time in my life, I'm just going to take the risk. I'm just going to leave my job. And I left. Luckily, the company said, we got you for 3 months financially, right? So they paid me 3 months salary, and I
They
left.
put you on like a sabbatical.
I hadn't
type
planned to go back for another 12. And I said, when I do go back, I'm not going to go back at the senior level that I was at before, right? So I was like a head of department, right? And it was, it wasn't necessarily something that I can't handle now, but I know what comes with it. and that just isn't important to me anymore.
Mm-hmm.
The authority, the salary, the title, all of those things, it just isn't important.
It just
to me
doesn't matter,
anymore
yeah.
I mean, the money might, but everything else, I get you, bro.
No,
I get
genuinely.
No.
Lose.
I
don't
I'm just,
like.
I'm
me
just saying. I'm
personally,
just taking. I'm just taking a mic.
No, but
I'm just saying, if there was anything, if there's anything like, bro, like for me, like I said to you, the thing is for me, it's not about.
It's the overheads. It's all about overheads.
It's just making sure that look, bro. If I can do the same thing, if you're telling me you're gonna pay me the same check to have an easier life,
then
why
wouldn't you? 100%. But my thing was what's more important to me? I've got my father's estate to manage. I've got all of the will, the probate, all of that, all of those things to sort out, and I don't want to do that at the same time as being stressed about work.
No,
of course,
and when I do go back,
of course,
when I do go
and
back,
you won't get your best work in that
Yeah,
situation either.
exactly. So anyway, I was going for walks with an old director of mine. He became a friend, and he's the one that convinced me to come back. And I said, you know what? I'll say his name, Mark. I said, Mark, the only way I'm coming back is if I drop down a few levels.
But this is the thing. So I like what you said there, being able to drop back a few levels and still be comfortable and still be happy and still be content.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, is a lot of people go, no, I'm on 35k. My next job should be 35k, regardless of what I go into.
Yeah.
But if you're content, if you build a content life at 25, sometimes you, even if you're earning 35, when you have your shift, because you're earning that, you'll still get 25.
Yeah.
But it's part of a journey that in 2 years you'll be earning more than 35.
Yeah.
Do you get what I mean? And a lot of people don't have that patience. They don't see that. We've talked about this, that longevity, that patience of things.
Yeah.
To say, if I'm earning 45, sometimes I'll have to go back to 40 to then do more. But a lot of people have too much pride and ego.
100%.
And also, they're stuck in that lifestyle.
And I go back to a company that I left where I was a head of previously, right? And so everyone's going to see my sliders now. They're Jordan sliders. Just put that out there.
Sponsorships coming soon, guys.
The Jordan.
Sponsor me. Anyway, so the point is that I go back to this company, and the last time this group of people saw me, right, I was a head of, and people are like tapping me up.
You can hear
what went wrong in his life? What went wrong for him?
Is everything good? You're like, I've dropped down because they've added new layers of management as well. So technically, I've dropped down like 5 levels, right? And it's like, is everything okay? What's happened? And I explain to people, and they get it. And some people just didn't ask. Yeah. They just assumed something went horribly wrong with my career.
It's just the way they look at you.
Yeah, I know, there really is.
You might as well walk in through the aisles going, fish for sale.
This is my
Do you know what I mean? Like,
this is my point. It made me laugh because I thought, this is really important to you. And it just isn't to me anymore.
Why are you so...
Like, they say there's 5 stages of grief, right? And for me, that lasted like... I would argue to a point I'm still at the back end of all of that. Do you know what I mean? It takes a while to get over such a big loss. So going back into a job where I wasn't as stressed, I could do the job with my eyes closed, I was getting paid a decent salary, everything was okay, allowed me to focus on the things that are more important to me. Do you know what I mean? But because I took advantage of my 20s and I really utilized opportunity, and I worked by the age of 28, being a head of department and being good with my money and building the foundations, doing all of those things, it afforded me the opportunity that when life punched me in the gut,
you could take a step back, 100%.
And that's really the message that I'm trying to send. I think I've said that twice now. I'm sorry if I have, but that's really what I'm trying to say in this podcast.
And I think I've danced around it on my side, but I'm the opposite end of the spectrum. Not the opposite. I'm not the opposite end of the spectrum, because that's a lie, because I have asset. I have asset. My money's an asset.
Yeah.
I don't have saving. My money's an asset.
Okay.
I don't I don't have that. For me, all my overheads get paid. Everything gets paid. We're now going through the shift with finances.
Okay.
To square everything up so that we are fully in the black, and it's
yeah.
fine. But at the moment, I do use my credit card a lot and stuff like that. But it's manageable amounts. It's stuff where my credit score hasn't taken a hit. If anything, it's gotten better. I'm seen as a responsible borrower and all this stuff. But I made sure everything is reversible. Everything can be reversed. Yeah. I'm in a situation where if I need to go back to where I was, I can do that. And have the asset. I can sell my house have the cash in the bank, and be back in my old
Yeah.
place as an emergency situation.
But that's a responsible way of doing it, right?
Cool. But, and this is probably the warning I would give to people that got me, it could have been a very different situation because, and we've all, I'm sure, I don't know if you guys have ever been there, but I have, where early doors of my career, I was what we're talking about. So I started on 18K and I was living at home and I could have been banking that money, but instead my lifestyle was, my other half lived in another city. Every weekend I wanted to go see her and I'd have to pay for hotels every single weekend for us to be together because her family didn't know about me. Just because of culture differences. Initially, we're all good now. Everyone knows each other. It's all good. But it was hotels every weekend. So all my money would go on that. And then the more money I'd make, rather than looking at, well, now I can save whilst doing those things because I'm content with that life, I wasn't. So the more money I would make, the more my overheads would raise. Not my spending, my monthly overheads, which is what Neus was saying. Like, my car would become bigger. My clothes would become bigger. This would become bigger. I'd sign up to more expensive mobile.
You tied in for 36 months. And
right?
That your job don't last 36 months.
Oh, upgrade on your phone. Things are going pretty good right now. I can upgrade to a £60 contract now or a £70 contract because I want unlimited data with the best phone and da-da-da-da-da. And it's exactly that. You're now stuck in... That's how people get stuck in that rat race. They make their overhead so big
don't get me wrong,
they can't go backwards.
And don't get me wrong, it can sink or swim people. Because don't get me wrong, they're the people that... Don't get me wrong, I'm a person, I thrive on pressure. You put me under pressure, I perform. So if I get in a situation where I got to pay my stuff up, bro, I'll find a way to get out of that as quick as I can and be back ahead of where I need to be. But I'd have learned the lesson of, all right, cool, don't do that again. Everything must stay where it is for now. No more raising up.
And I'm just learning that now.
But it's a sink or swim situation where some people can't. Some people get too under everything, and I've even seen people get to the point where they just close the door on it. They got people calling them, knocking. They acting like that's not happening right now.
I have friends like that.
They got
where they're like, oh, people have been knocking on the door. I just haven't been answering.
I'm just not answering right now.
And
it's just, I don't know how to process it.
Yeah.
I don't know where I'm going to
They just don't want to face it.
What do I do?
They don't understand because no one's ever educated them about payment plans and stuff like that. Like, it can be manageable if you face it.
Yeah.
People think that the reason overheads, going back to that topic about overheads, the reason overheads are so important to me is I've always had this weird, I don't understand finance. I never did. I'm only understanding it now a bit better. With the help of individuals telling me, but I'm only understanding that was what pushed me to buy the house. Was a friend found out the asset I had in my flat and his reaction to it made me feel stupid. Literally made me feel stupid. The way he reacted to it was, I felt, oh man, I'm major faux pas right now. I'm not doing something that everyone else would have done in this situation. Purely because I don't understand finance. No, I know, but it's because I didn't understand finance. Because my headspace with finances is if you don't pay one payment, you lose it. If I miss a payment on the car, tomorrow they're going to come and take my car. If I miss a payment on the house, tomorrow someone's going to knock on my door and take my house away from me. I'm going to be on the streets and homeless.
Wow.
That's how my brain worked. My brain literally thinks like, you miss a payment, you lose it.
Yeah.
You lose everything. You lose all your credibility, you credit everything. And I've seen it. I've seen the impact that has on certain people where their credits have things on there where they can't pass credit checks and stuff. And they have to then explain themselves and bring all the paperwork and demonstrate how they got out of that and all of that kind of stuff. But I think my advice on this would be is as you find a level of content and happiness at a good level that you can go back to if need be. God forbid. Or if you want to have a change, give yourself freedom to be able to have a shift or have a change in your life. Because there may come a time where you go, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to do this industry, this job. I want to change.
Somebody once told me, say if you can save 2 years' salary and just have that sitting in the bank, not as anything else, just savings.
Yeah.
You got your other money doing whatever, but you can literally do anything.
Yeah, I was told 1 year.
That's fine.
And that was always my starting point. That was always
financial freedom.
Because if I remember when it was, so the company I've gone back to now, as I was thinking about leaving them first, this wasn't when Pops passed away, I was with a different company then, but when I first left them in 2017, 2018, they weren't winning big business. They just weren't, right?
Okay.
And it was a really sketchy period. People didn't really know what's going on. So I sat with one of my mentors and I said, look, do I stick around or do I go spread my wings somewhere else? Because I always said when I get to a certain level, I'm going to branch out. Maybe I'll go work in London. Maybe go work overseas, see what's going on, right? And he said, my advice would be stick to this, but make sure you got a year's salary in the bank. And I said, you know what? I was told that a few years ago. And that was always my target. Because if I ever lost my job, at least I could survive for a year.
Yeah, you got a year to get your
So
shit
these
together.
are funny enough. The one for me was 6 months.
Yeah.
So you started what 2 years? You said a
the
year.
reason
I've
why-
had
the
6
reason
months.
why. So
like,
the guy who told me
but
2
2
years
years is you can do.
No,
anything,
and
yeah.
that's what, and that's what, no,
Yeah.
and that's literally what he said. So the guy
Yeah.
who told me that goes, look, especially for like, because we were talking about like, I think at the time I was talking about maybe going and doing my own thing and working for myself and figuring it out. And he goes, bro, just make sure you got 2 years salary.
Yeah.
He goes, because as long as you can survive, all your bills are taken care of for the first year. That's the hard work. And then the second year is your backup in case you need money for anything, in case you need to, sort anything out.
Yeah.
And then, but it gives you enough time to put the energy in. Whereas if you only give yourself a year and something happens that puts your time off, then you're limiting, you might have to go get a job before your business gets off the road. Whereas if you've given yourself that gap, it gives you enough time to, bro, there should be no reason why in a year and a half you haven't set up your business and it's functioning.
Yeah, that was. Sorry,
what I
I
mean?
mistook what I was saying earlier. It was more 6 to 12 months to be able to pay. We were talking about starting a business, and someone said to me, "You need to have at least 6 months worth of your overheads there."
Yeah.
So, for the first 6 months of your business,
so that
running.
you know you're good.
You need that in the bank.
So 2 years.
Have a year's worth, so you can cover 6
a
months.
year's salary was covering you, your life, your bills, your dad. The other salary is in case you need to fund things and do things that you wouldn't be able to do because you're not working. You see what I mean? So that was what the advice I got given, which is kind of the base of where I'm like, well, yeah, if I can do that, then bro, like you could literally travel for a year and find yourself somewhere else doing
And
something
is it,
else.
bro? I'm at the base level. I'm starting at just let's try and get to paying everything off, and then from there, the first goal is 5K.
Yeah.
Just 5K in the bank.
Yeah.
That's the first target,
Yeah.
and then we'll go from there.
Go from there. Build up slowly. 100%.
Because I've got, as I said, I've got asset. Like it's
Yeah.
not that I'm broke. I've got asset,
Yeah.
and it's comfortable.
Yeah,
Yeah,
asset.
but
And
bro,
you know
for
what?
everybody,
But-
but everybody, see, this is the thing, and a lot of people need to figure it out, and that's the thing. Even when we're talking about this subject of knowing how to take your opportunities or knowing how to do something with your money. Some people prefer liquid. Some people like assets. Some people go gamble their money and throw it into crypto and other things and all of this.
Oh,
And
yeah.
I'm not
Yeah,
saying
yeah,
it's
yeah, that's
gambling, but it is kind of gambling because you're not sure whether it's going to go up, down. You might not have money tomorrow. Who knows? So in a way, that is gambling. Technically, it's not in a safe bet. Whereas if you were,
I'm pretty sure it is because with certain trading, it's tax free, isn't it? Because it's technically gambling
Well, bro, it's definitely
or betting.
It's not the same. It's not the same as, let's say, putting your money in an investment portfolio. Yeah, you could still lose your money, but to a degree, there's some protection there. Do you get what I mean? But yeah, some people are there, bro. I learned a lot of the financial things, and don't get me wrong, I wouldn't even sit here. I would say I'm good with money, but I wouldn't sit here and say I'm financially savvy in all things, bro. Because in reality, I could probably be working in crypto land. I have the capacity in my mental brain that I feel like I could have been a millionaire from it. I just have never paid it that mind, and I haven't got the knowledge. But it's not because I don't know I can't go read it. It's just because, like I said, the time. I won't put my energy into something I don't believe I can give
Again,
my time to.
my brother used to do
Time
it.
to it.
My brother used to do currency trading.
Yeah.
And it was key. And he actually once said, he goes, you know what? This is something you'd actually be really good at. If you researched it and you learn it, you'd be really good at this. I think you would use Yeah, he goes, I think you specifically would be good at it. The problem is my brain goes, yeah, but from my knowledge, my stereotype knowledge of this is I'm going to get pulled in, put my money in, I'm just going to watch the graph drop and all my money has just disappeared.
Yeah.
Where it's funny for me, the thing was just, I don't think I have the time to constantly, like for me, the dedication for me is the thing I feel like I would want to be, for instance, 2 years salary sitting in the bank. All right, cool. Let's now go sit and just sit in front of the computer doing this. Yes, cool. I'm all up for that. But right now, because of my job currently and the time, family, this, it's like, dude, I don't have time for my phone to be pinging off with any updates of this, that, and the other. Like, I would need somebody to literally help me with it. And I don't
No, I
have
think
that
leave
time.
your job and do it. You could
Yeah,
do it
yeah.
if you left
Whereas
your job.
if I kept
My
job-
concern would be if you did leave your job and go to that, I don't think we'd ever see you again. I think this podcast would be done and we'd never see you again.
I mean, depending.
I think you would literally be like, have you ever seen Grandma's Boy?
No.
Oh, it's okay. So I think you would be one of those guys who because I think he'd clock it very quickly and start becoming quite successful. And as soon as he starts being successful, I think within 6 months, he's going to be that guy at home in one of those like levitated chair with like 8 screens around him. And he's just like all day with like 4 keyboards just.
Nah, don't get me wrong, dude. Let me tell the world this. I have a number.
That's what I mean. Until you
number.
hit your number, and then you'll just
but
push
my number's
shut down.
my number's not as big as a lot of people might think.
I know.
Yeah, because a lot of people are greedy out there and they think of a big number. I don't need a big number. I just need a number to feel that I have time to do everything I can do.
And trust me,
Because I feel like there's nothing, like, dude, in the world you live in, you should feel like there's nothing you can't do. The only thing we don't always have is the facilities and the time to do.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say
and
something.
all I really ever want is money that can afford me time.
And his setup
It's not about billions, millions, trillions. Nah, B. I just need enough money to afford me time. Let me pay this guy to do my job.
He will trust me.
I'll pay a guy to stare at those 100 screens while I'm doing something else because that's what I mean. That's
It'll be like Dark Knight. You know all those sonar things.
Yeah. So I'm gonna say something what people may deem as controversial, right? Because this is a real goal for so many people, right? And it was for me for a long time. Now I'm gonna add a little disclaimer in there, in that I've been very fortunate that my old man made decisions that gave us and afforded us property, assets, all of those sorts of things, right? We're sitting in one of them today, right? But I am completely against the idea of mortgages, buying a home.
As in, you think it should always be cash?
I think...
we should be given homes? Or?
No, I don't think buying a home to stay in a 25, 30-year mortgage should be the goal. I think that traps a lot of people. I think you don't know where your mind is going to be in 25, 30 years, even before that. And I think staying in a mortgage, by and large, locks people into paying that for that whole period.
No, but you can sell and move.
You can, but not a lot of people are afforded that opportunity. If we think about just the intricacies and the variation in life choices and circumstances, most people aren't afforded the ability to just sell their house and jump ship and say, yeah, I'm going to do something different. They may be locked in a marriage. Their partner may not want them to do that. Their job may mean that they're just scraping by and they just need to continue that. Otherwise they can't. There's just so many different variants.
Do you mean leave where you are, or do you mean just sell your house and move to another house in the same?
No,
same town.
I'm saying
some people get stuck. They don't have the financial freedom to be able to make the decision of, hey, you know what? We could just sell up and leave.
Yeah.
Some people might be still tied into a mortgage and still have all the other, like we were talking about, all the other expenses that have come up that if I don't pay my mortgage, or if I sell up, I'm still not better off.
And the percentage of people that remortgage, not just once, but I think the percentage of people that remortgage is like 80%, and then
you're talking about just people who are in tight financial situations who they're stuck in their cycle
because they remortgage because they may want to do some stuff in their lives, or they may want to reduce their payments so they can do stuff in their lives, but they have to remortgage to do that.
That's my point. They're doing it like we talked about earlier.
They're doing it
the wrong way.
Yeah.
They're trying to keep a lifestyle up, and this is the problem.
It may not just be the lifestyle, though. It may just be... there's so many different reasons why people remortgage. The point is, I don't think there's anything wrong with just renting a home. Or if you're
but the problem is this. Look, the thing is this. And I agree with you. I agree with you to a degree. I'm not going to lie. I had a conversation recently. I was saving up money for a house. You know this. I wanted to buy a house, and I was pretty much ready to buy that house maybe a year ago, but in the end, I never did. And there's a few reasons.
Same, by the way. There's a few
reasons to that. one of them was at the time money situation was, well, the money was good, but the interests and all of this wasn't great, which still hasn't necessarily changed now anyway. But the other thing was, I had a conversation with somebody. And in that conversation, man, I don't know what it was, but God speaks to me through people. I feel like sometimes I was meant to be in a room and hear what you said, because it just touched that button that said, "Yep, message." You know?
Yeah.
And we were having a conversation, and it was basically to the point where he was kind of similar to you. Not that he didn't believe in mortgages, but he was like, "I'm never getting a mortgage, and I'll tell you why." And when he broke it down, I was like, I'm surprised I've never thought like this. Like, that's such a clear way of thinking in a sense, because he was like, look, the problem with a mortgage from his standpoint is you're tied in.
Mm-hmm.
You're tied in. You're paying for something that at some point, don't get me wrong, yes, it might go up in value, but it kind of sticks you somewhere. You're stuck. Renting, which was his preferred choice, was, dude, I could be here today and tomorrow I could be in another country, another town. I can drop all obligations today and have no worries in the world. Yeah?
If you have cash in the bank to do that.
No, 100%.
With rental specifically, if you have cash in the bank to do that.
100%.
And the other problem with the thing with rental that makes me nervous is you can be pushed out of the town or city you live in with rental. You can literally be forced out. Because all of a sudden, all of the tenants in the town and city could go, all of the landlords can go, oh, if we all raise our rent, like, oh, your place is renting for this. Oh, I'm going to rent for that. And he'll rent for that. And you'll rent for that. But a lot of people don't think of it like that.
No, but this is what I'm saying to you. Like this, I don't think there's a. I think we're
and
definitely.
It's the same, and
me
it's
and
the
you
same.
are definitely on the opposite ends of the
No.
view of this, right?
I think rental's good for certain people.
No.
For a lot of people.
And so this is the thing. So don't get me wrong. This is where my second thing was going to come in. So don't get me wrong. To a degree, when he said there was more to it, I'm not going to lie. I can't go into the whole ins and outs of the conversation we had, but there was more to it than that. However, the bottom line was he kind of made a very good point on the fact that, look, if you do have liquid cash and you don't mind renting, you can rent, and depending on what you can afford as well, if you can afford a penthouse, you go rent your penthouse. If you can afford, but whatever you do, you have the option to literally go, I'm checking out tomorrow if I need to check out tomorrow. There's no obligation to be tied into this thing for 30 years.
Oh, okay. However, you don't have to go through the hassle of selling the place.
The second thing, there's no selling, there's none of that. The second thing I would say is, but how do you become a person that can rent if you don't buy? So in a sense,
no, I think there's buyers and there's renters. I would love to spend the rest of my life just renting, and using the money that I've put together in other investments. I think that I heard somebody say this on social media, right? Which is, you could put 50K down on a house right now. Mm-hmm. What's your return in 25 years?
Depends on the value of the place. Okay, right?
Let's say best case scenario, you buy a 50K, which is 10% on a £500,000 house right now. Yeah, in 25 years, what's that house likely to be worth? Doubled?
Depends, bro.
It depends where it is. As I said, a few of my family members have made double on their investment.
Scenarios where the house values have gone up recently.
Yeah.
So this house, I won't say exactly how much it was bought for or whatever, but it literally has doubled in value in 21 years.
Yeah.
In 21 years, this house, because I had it valued last year, has doubled in value, right? But this is a prime location in a city that is thriving and is growing rapidly, and we've got more and more people coming into it every day, right? Yeah. We're very lucky.
Yeah,
not everybody. Very, very lucky. Not everybody gets that. So let's say, on average, a house increases by 25, maybe 50%.
Let's call it 50%.
50% in value. Mm-hmm. If you put that 50K into a million other things, maybe not a million, but there are several other opportunities for you out there to put 50K into and receive a far better return on investment. And the only thing you've really got from it is a place where you've built memories and you've had a roof over your head and it's a familiar territory, and you probably hand it off to your kids one day who are all
right,
so
one of the points, just to touch base with what you said, one of the points my guy did actually talk about was the fact that, look, you can pay rent, right? And your rent is whatever the agreed amount is, and that's all you pay. Whereas you pay your mortgage, you still got to pay insurance, you still got to pay this. You still got to maintain anything that breaks and falls and whatever, and all of these things. Whereas you could use all that money that you'd spend on all the maintenance of what you have and invest it in other things and get a return from it. So don't get me wrong. That's why I said the conversation we had was like way in depth, but it was just like
absolutely.
Points of don't get me wrong. Some people want to buy, and if you want to buy, do your.
Do you know what it is for me though?
These are the reasons why I don't.
I'll give you. Sorry, go on.
No, that's all it was. He was just saying these are the. But I was just tying it into because that was one of the points he made was like, dude, I could just invest.
But the last thing I want to add to this, I'm so sorry, Ash. The last thing I want to add to this, right, is
joking.
And this is you got to get in my head for a second, right? If you forget the size of the house, forget the location or whatever. If you just turn every single house in this world just for one moment into the same size, into a box room, and they're all just dotted all around the world, right?
Okay.
And in every single box is a group of people that are paying a bank to live in that property, in the hopes that one day they're either going to sell up or they're going to hand it down to their kids, so the kids are easier off. Yeah, better off, should I say? No other reason other than that, right? Maybe there's a bit of lavish in there. Maybe there's a bit of, we like where we live in, that type of thing. But the point is, you're either going to sell it up and get the money out of it, or you're going to hand it down to your children, right? But you're all paying into this bank. These guys are getting richer and richer off of everybody living in these boxes. And every single one of them is committed, minimum 18 years, into paying this bank, right?
Right.
To live in what I believe is a human right, which is a roof over your head.
Okay.
Right?
I do too.
Okay. So that's how I look at the housing market globally.
Okay.
It is a system that pays into a system, and that's it. You shouldn't have to tie in for 35, 18, however many years it is. You shouldn't have to tie in for decades just to have a roof over your head.
But you're not though. So this is the other side of the spectrum that I was going to say for the mortgage side is, but you're not. You're tied in for 2 or 5 for your fixed period, and then after that, this is the thing for me. I'm struggling with this whole you're locked into it. Since having to buy my place, right? So when I got my apartment, I knew nothing about mortgages. My parents basically guided me along and said, hey, sign this, pay that person, sign this, pay that person, sign this, pay that person, sign this, pay this person. And I didn't learn any of it. I just was there to sign documents. And at the end, they went, here's your key, Mr. Kazarini, congratulations, this is your place.
Yeah.
Whereas with my house, I specifically, because I was buying it with my other half and we were sharing this property, both of our names on the mortgage, I turned around to my dad and said, as much as I appreciate your help and I will come to you if I need help, I want to do this one on my own.
Yeah.
Everything. I want to do the whole thing, the legal, the barristers, everything. I want to do it on my own. I want to learn it. I want to understand the process and all that. When you understand and you learn as the majority of it, and you have good people around you. I have a very good mortgage broker in here. And my mortgage broker made me at ease and made me realise he makes it quite simple and breaks down the whole mortgage rates and how it all works and all of that. By the way, that's what's catalyst the whole finance shift, is that the mortgage rates change and our renewal's coming up in a couple of months. Yeah. So it's not that we can't afford the change. It's that we're going, hold on a second, we could have afforded that and put money in the bank. So we need to change the way we're living. Yeah. But to go back to it, he makes it very easy. So for me, I don't feel like I'm locked into anything. And as I said, I can reverse my lifestyle if I need to. I can very easily go back to the last person and say, sorry, I'm moving back in, and sell my place. Regardless of if it's in or out of fixed, I just pay a penalty. But the difference for me between mortgage and rental, and I agree with what you guys are saying, is that you're not fixed into a thing. You can just drop your contract there and go without having to pay a thing or sell your house or whatever. However, I would rather pay £1,000 a month into a mortgage bank account that I know I'm going to get some return on that £1,000 when I sell this place, then give £1,000 to someone else to line their pocket that I'm never going to see again. At least with the mortgage option, I'm going to see some of that money back. The rental option, I'm just giving that money to someone to live in their house. That's what I don't get. Like rental, I get it in a means, but
that's what's important to you, right?
It's not even important. It's that because I'm lining someone else's pocket. I'm giving someone else my money to live in their property. So still I'm having to pay to live there.
Yeah.
But this time I'm seeing no return on that money. I'm just giving someone, let's say it's $1,000 a month. I'm giving someone £12,000 a year to live in their property. At least if I was putting that 12,000 into a mortgage, take away the interest rates, I'm going to at least still see 6 or 7 of that grand back when I sell the place. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
It's my savings account. I look at my mortgage as a savings account. It's my reliable savings account that I can't touch for 2 or 5 years until I remortgage and then decide, do I want to remortgage? Do I want to take some money out? Do I want to shorten the term, lengthen the term? How do I want to do it? But when you understand mortgages in more detail, you realize there is a lot of flexibility with it. And
there is, and I get that. But by and large, most people don't experience that.
Yeah, no, I know.
By and large, people get a mortgage and they'll spend their careers paying that mortgage
off. We're going to live here forever. But I don't get it. So, for example, our mortgages, as I said, it's coming up in September, a couple of months. And the key thing for us was we were looking at properties. We go, oh, maybe we should move. 2 years is up. Mortgage rates have changed. Let's have a look at other places and see, right? We were looking at downsizing. We were like, actually, why are we in a 4-bed? Why not downsize to a 2-bed or a 3-bed? Or maybe let's go back to an apartment, but a new one, like a fresh one.
Yeah.
That's half the price of this or a quarter or 2/3 the price of this. Because we haven't got an ego to be like, but we're in a 4-bed. People are going to question why we downsized. And we couldn't care less what people have to say about our decisions and what we want to
100%.
do. Because we're content.
Yeah.
We're content. We know that will bring more income in for us to have less overhead. Anyway.
I think the thing to add to this is at the base of a lot of what I say is my faith. Right? And
no, but even still, I would still say when you were speaking, you're speaking majority about generalizing.
Yeah.
So you're not talking about, come on, there's always going to be exceptions to every rule, and there's always going to be some people that are smarter than others with finances. And, and that's why I said one of the things I like is, there's a lot of information you have to learn for yourself, but keeping the right people around you or having people that have gone through situations you're looking to go through is obviously almost like the expressway to getting where you need to be. How did you do that, man? What did you do? So what was that situation like? Don't get me wrong. I can't take everything you say and just go and run with
repeat it because times
But at least I have.
Closer to, man,
but at least I have an idea.
A baseline
I can then
idea
take
of,
that information and go see the mortgage guy and say, hey,
yeah.
What's the situation here? I've been told this. What can we do with that? So it's about keeping people around you. But look, I hear both sides. Don't get me wrong, and that's why I said, how can you be a buyer? How can you be a seller if you ain't buying? Or how can you be a renter if you ain't buying? Because don't get me wrong, to a degree, my end goal in life would be to own property to rent. I might not live in there. I might still pay somebody else rent. I don't have a problem giving nobody my money. Somebody get my money no matter what I do, so it doesn't bother me. I'm not going to lie to you. That part when he said that, I was kind of like, I hear you, but at the same time, you giving your money away anyway somewhere. Yeah. Whether it's, don't get me wrong, your $6,000 is being saved in your savings account. But when you got to do that tiling job, when you got to do that roofing job, that money don't go in your. To a degree, it might.
Yeah, true.
It might.
Yeah,
but it might.
And that's what I mean. That's where we're shifting the finance plan.
Yeah. So
stuff like.
So that's all I'm saying is, it's down to what you want. It's down to what you feel is comfortable. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I don't ever want to buy a house, but I'm saying I had a conversation with somebody that made me look at things different. So I then ended up in a situation where I was like, you know what? I got money in the bank, it ain't going nowhere, and I ain't in no rush. Let me weigh up my options and see what's good.
Yeah. And I also believe, it's a fundamental belief of mine, that I don't think anybody should ever knowingly experience debt. Like, I genuinely don't think anybody should knowingly experience debt. It should never be something. And I get debt is a very different thing in 2023.
What do you mean by knowingly experience?
As in going into it consciously, putting yourself in debt, right? I think it's...
As in knowing you can't pay it back? Or like using your credit card? Debt.
Using a credit card, taking out loans, mortgages, car finance, all of these things. I think all of those things... on an individual level can be a positive experience or a negative one, right? Depending on who you are. Yeah. And like I said, 2023, debt is a very different thing, right? You can easily live a good life and still have debt, right? I'm not saying that it's always a bad thing. I'm saying by and large as a society, America's just up their debt ceiling to like 81 trillion or so. It was something stupid like that. Like, it's just, You know, Sheikh Hamza Yusuf said it. I heard it in a talk. It's probably about 10 years ago now, and he said, I don't think. He goes, look at all of these children being born today. They're coming into a world where they're inheriting debt that they never put together themselves, like they never contributed to ever. Now they're gonna.
Oh, in the US, yeah.
Even in this
Even
country,
in this country,
Yeah, in most
even in
countries, yeah.
most places in the West, right? It's and beyond. Like people are being born into debt, and I don't think that's ever a fair situation to be in, because sooner or later,
it's gonna burn it down. Revolution.
But you can have a plan with borrowing. So, for example, don't get me wrong, I might end up leaving this car and going to another one and being in another finance plan, so on and so forth. But currently,
please don't get rid of this car. I love it, man.
This is the problem I face.
genuinely
This is the problem I face right now. Is and I've just let the wife start driving it as well.
Okay.
So now she's like, "You are never selling the car. This is my car as well now, and you're never selling it."
Yeah.
So, look, hers we can always look at changing up and this and that. But my plan now is to use the finance long term. So, play the long game of like 8 to 10 years, keeping it manageable, because the monthly payments right now are manageable.
Yeah.
And as we know, everything's just becoming more and more expensive. So 4 years down the line, the same car is going to be double the monthly payments to own, but mine will still be in that manageable frame. So my plan is to do that, is to keep paying it long term until it's done.
Yeah.
Or to take a loan out to pay it off, to pay that off over a few years, and then I own it cash. And then I have the power of doing the decision. Or if I do want to get something out.
I want to be clear. When you talk about it from a place of reason and logic, and you understand what you're doing, and you're making conscious decisions. I don't think everybody's like that.
Absolutely
I've
not.
just seen during COVID, like the government was up until I think it was 2021, the government was offering these mortgages where they pay your deposit for you. They pay a portion of your deposit for you. Just before COVID, in that office that I was in, and there was probably about 50 people in that office, right? Most people had taken out a mortgage that year and bought a house without even really thinking about it. Like, that one will do, because it was just so easy to get into. Most of them weren't responsible adults, man. I'm telling you.
A lot of people.
I'll be honest with you.
Most people do it for the story, because I have to buy a property. I need to get on the property ladder.
Exactly.
So even if it means I only own 5% of the place, I want to get on the property ladder.
And now let's look at it holistically. I'm conscious of time.
I also didn't know how it worked with those government things. I only learnt recently that you pay a mortgage and rent.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Yeah, you do.
It's
A housing
crazy.
association, isn't it?
Yeah, it's nuts when you get one of these government
you look
mortgages.
at it holistically now. You've now got a forget globally, you've got a national pool of people who are stable and unstable and everybody in between.
Yeah.
That are feeding into a system that is stable, which is this
Feeding into the bubble.
this finance system, right? Which is keeping this whole thing going, right? All it takes is for enough bad decisions for it to all fall apart, and we learned that with the financial crash.
No, we're about to go through it with this mortgage shift.
Yeah.
We're about to go through it.
How many properties, like, just drive around Buckinghamshire, how many new apartments are being built? How many new houses are being built? We've got along the A5, we've got, like 1,000 new homes or whatever it is, 5,000 new homes. It's just unbelievable. It's this beast that's growing and growing.
That'll be that vicious cycle, yeah.
And it's going to come crashing down.
But then they'll redo it again.
I don't want to be collateral damage, which is another reason why I think, man, I'll rather, if I'm in a rented home and the landlord's having a difficulty with his mortgage and he says, look, you got 30 days to get out, I'll get out and I'll find somewhere where the landlord isn't in that position. But I'm now not left with the consequences of other people's decisions, which is banks having to force people into renegotiating or, foreclosure, or companies closing because...
What, you're saying because I'm renting?
No, I'm saying because look at the financial crash. That financial crash not only hit banking, but it hit all of the
every single industry
of that are linked to banking,
every
right?
industry. Yeah,
housing market was, and how many people lost their homes during that period? And I just think it's for me. It's great at an individual level, 100%. It makes sense.
But look, that's the thing about debt, though, and I think the problem with debt in the world is we're only getting into it more and more and more until the day someone calls your debt in. Because the day they call your debt in, what are you gonna do if you can't pay?
And we
Eventually,
think
You
it's
do what they
gonna
do in
happen,
Dubai
right?
and you run.
Eventually, no, but eventually we're gonna get, essentially that's what you're talking about. We're getting to a point where, dude, when the debts all get called in and say, hey, and then we now realize that half of these debts weren't paid. Oh man,
I mean, funny enough, I made a joke off the back of that when I said you do what they do in Dubai, but that's true. That is a great example of Western mentality towards debt going in a country where it's illegal to have debt, where they don't plan for the drop. They go to Dubai, they're working, their salary goes up, it's tax-free, all of this. I'm going to live a bigger lifestyle. I'm going to buy a Porsche. I'm going to do this. I'm going to buy a supercar. I'm going to so on and so forth. And then circumstances change. Layoffs, this and that. Well, however it might be, they lose their job. And there is an auction, I think it's every year, there's an auction regularly in Dubai or in the Middle East but I know specifically in Dubai it happens, where people abandon their cars at the airport. Like they literally sell batches of and they find some of the rarest supercars.
Yeah. Just
Like the
collecting dust.
rarest stuff
Yeah.
that Americans and Brits and all that know about, go over there, start making the money, buy these supercars, these unique ones and all this. And then the moment you can't pay a payment, you're going to jail.
Yeah.
If you lose your job and you have debt and you can't pay a payment, you
I
get
had a
arrested, you go to
relative
jail.
who
So they abscond.
They have to make some of their payments through checks.
Yeah.
In Dubai, like you can't. It's not like a direct debit. And he forgot to submit a check. Got arrested. Yeah. Got turfed out the
They
country.
literally abscond. They drop everything. So you go to their apartment, it's as it was. They've literally just gone straight to the airport, bought a ticket, left their car there and left.
There was that famous article, wasn't there, where they'd taken a picture of hundreds of cars just sitting at DBX.
That's the one.
DBX,
And that goes to auction.
Yeah, they were just all of these supercars just collecting
Bugattis,
dust.
Lamborghini,
And it was like
old Ferrari, like vintage ones,
Yeah.
new cars.
So it's just crazy, and this is I don't think the world operates successfully when debt is involved. I just don't think it does.
I agree with you on what you said. You're absolutely right. There is a whole raft of people who just spend mindlessly. Like I've got a credit card, I can use it. I've got this, but it's because they don't know. So they end up with a big debt on it. And
there's
then,
some people that know. There are some that
but they're
know
just
that
doing
just
it.
don't care.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's different
There's this
spectrums of people.
there's this documentary on Netflix. This is the last point I'll make, and then if it's right, we'll go to closing.
Wow.
So
Okay.
I know it's probably
Yeah.
right? But there's this documentary which follows homeless people around the UK, right? And the vast majority of them are in that position because of debt. Loans, not mortgages, loans.
Do you know how many people I knew at 18 who by 20 or by the time they finished uni, they were in like serious situations with wanting to get credit checks because of phones?
Yeah.
Because as soon as they turned 18 and could get a contract, they went and got a contract because you only needed a small amount on your bank card to get approved. They had clear credit, no credit history, couldn't pay for it. And then they ended up having debts from like O2 and this and that because they couldn't pay their bills.
It's crazy. Over a phone, man.
And it's funny, man, because the thing is, you didn't even need to do all of that over a phone.
Yeah.
Didn't even need to do all of that. But look, at the end of the day, man, it is what it is. People are always gonna. People are always gonna do what they want to do, innit? Everybody's happy with whatever they're happy with.
Mm-hmm.
And that's the thing you have to understand.
Everyone has their lane of
and
happiness.
don't get me wrong, dude. When I was young, I bought, between the age of, like, I actually thought about this one day. I was thinking with my son, because I came into his room and he got a bunch of shoes, and I was like, bro, I remember being this time. And I remember thinking to myself, dude, I remember there was a time probably between the years of 2001 and maybe 2004, I had at least 60 boxes of Timberland boots sitting in my house. Some of them I hadn't even worn. Bro, 60 times 100 and whatever they were at the time.
They were like £200, weren't they?
Don't get me wrong. I wasn't in debt for those shoes. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that. But even just the thinking of, dude, these are like £140 minimum.
Yeah.
They were like
It's like 10 grand's worth of shoes.
minimum.
Yeah, it's like 8 to 10 grand's worth of shoes.
What the hell was I thinking? just because I wanted to wear every color. Yo, I got a baby blue pair that goes with this baby blue jumper. Yo, I got a green pair that goes. It was just too much for no reason. But as you get
Tim's
older,
are timeless, man. I'm just gonna put
as
that
you
out
get
there.
older,
First pair of shoes I ever bought for myself, baby blue pair of Timbs. I love you said baby blue because the first thing I ever bought was baby blue pair of Timbs.
don't get me wrong, dude.
No idea why.
I love Tim's, and don't get me wrong. I don't
Rockefeller
have
sex
60 anymore. I don't have 60 anymore. I probably don't even have more than 2 pairs. But it was just thinking back to a time where, bro, everyone goes crazy and spends money and does things, and you learn as you go along. And now I would say, man, you wouldn't catch me buying no Timbs no more.
Yeah,
care
facts.
what the price is. Could be on sale. I ain't buying them. But yeah, I think it just
Timberland are
depends.
slipping now. Anyway, I went to.
No, I still like their boots, man. I ain't gonna lie. Those
they
are
ain't got
classics.
the array that they used to have.
When you say the array, what we
Like
talking?
just the array of designs and colors and all of that. You don't.
Yeah,
get that
because they
anymore.
had the time. Like, dude,
That
the
time's
thing-
gone.
nah, but
Yeah,
no,
no.
but you know what it is. The thing is this: they have their staple.
Yeah,
Those
yeah.
never change. It's
They
like
never change.
the polo
The
tees.
OGs.
It's like the
The
polos,
OGs, yeah.
the button down
Yeah,
polos.
yeah.
They never change. Everybody like them. They classics. Every now and again, they try and bring out a few different models. Some of them hit. There was the one time, and I know which ones you're probably thinking about as well. The ones that had the two.
Yeah.
I know.
I used to have those.
I know.
have those.
That's what I remember. I know
Yeah.
which ones you're talking about.
Which
yeah.
ones?
Yeah, they were the ones that at the bottom. So they had the sole. Then at the bottom they had like the gritty kind of like.
Oh yeah,
rubber.
yeah.
And then on each side they had like a panel of like the suede.
Yeah.
And in the middle,
Yeah,
I
I know
remember
which
them
ones
ones
you're
because
about.
that was probably one of the most.
The flip over
New-
ones. You remember?
I
the
had
flip
them.
over- Yeah.
Dark
They
blue,
still
I
make
had
them,
those,
though.
the flip
Yeah.
overs.
I know. I went to Bista. I don't know. It's not the best place to go to see the array, but yeah, I was disappointed. I was. You're right. The staples are there, but hip hop culture ain't driving Timbs anymore, man. Do you know what I mean? Which is why you probably can't get baby blue Timbs anymore.
You can
Sad.
still
Anyway.
get them. You can still
Yeah.
get them. You just got to go to the outlets.
Yeah.
You won't find them in the new shops. But yeah.
We're gonna have to close up shop.
Well, anyway, as I was saying, we
Yeah.
was just, we all get reckless. We all do stupid things in our lives. We got to live and learn from them.
Yeah.
But, you are right. There are a lot of people out there that probably don't necessarily even assess their situation. Like you said, there are a lot of people that
Like I
probably
used to
got
do.
advice,
Yeah, like I used to
signed
do.
off on everything, took the thing and if you don't go out of your way to learn, because don't get me wrong, dude, a lot of the things you were saying, the reason why and that's why I said I'm on both sides is because, my brother is in the States. My brother's into all of this mortgages. He buys and sells houses. So a lot of the things he says, Ash is right. You don't have to, you're not specifically tied down, but it's only if you live it that way. It's only if you play it that way. Because a lot of people, like you said, they just want to sit in a house for 30 years. This is my asset. This is my retirement. This is my kids' inheritance.
Yeah,
This is everything. You know what I mean? And for those people, you might not get the best out of the situation. But there are people that will definitely be able to take advantage, remortgaging, doing other things, refinancing, moving money this way, that way, and still end up with everything as an asset at the end of the day. It's what you do with your money. So don't get me wrong. There are people, like you said, that are probably pulling out mortgages just to go on holidays and do things with their family because they can't afford to do those extras because of cost of living, X, Y, and Z. But all you're doing is technically putting yourself in more debt.
Yeah, I think the
Whereas if you're pulling money out to go and invest in another property or to do something else or to go, you know what I mean? It makes, so I think it's just about being smart and having the right people around you.
and talking about that, like I think the last thing I'd just put forward is for anyone who, because I've been there, where you're stuck in that situation where you're in a lifestyle that you're finding it hard to afford, or like you have bought the car and your lifestyle's changed and it's hard to maintain it, or your overheads are way too high for a shift in a job you've had to have, or you've lost your job, whatever it might be. I've been there. It's tough, and the key thing is for me, this is what I did and other people have tried it and it's worked for them, is you have to just swallow your pride, put your ego aside, and downsize everything.
Everything.
Reduce everything back, scale everything back, get rid of the car, go buy yourself and I did this. I went from like a flashy convertible BMW to a diesel Honda Civic. Yeah. and I did it free. And people came to me and were like, "You're nut. Like, is everything okay? You're all right."
Yeah.
No, I'm just come back to me in 2
But
years'
we
time.
had, you know,
And I used to tell everyone, come back to me in 2 years' time.
and
This
we-
is
and we
a
had-
plan.
And we had these conversations. I used to tell Ash, man, look, man, bro, you know how much my outgoings are?
Mm.
So that's what you need. When
Yeah.
your outgoings are a low number, that's when you know you're all right.
Change my whole
If
perception.
your
And
outgoings are high, yeah, don't get me wrong, you might be enjoying the stuff that comes with that, but that's putting you under a lot more financial strain.
the only
and
people
pressure
that
to
and the
perform
only
and keep up.
It's such beautiful advice, because whether we're sitting here talking about it in a podcast, whether people have like support or have the right people around them, whatever, people are going to do what people are going to do.
Yeah.
And some people are just going to make bad decisions.
Yeah, 100%.
and
And I
pride
think-
and ego is the
Yeah.
only thing that
Yeah.
stops you from not even doing that, from getting out of anything
Yeah,
in
yeah,
life,
absolutely.
reaching out for help, changing the way you are. Forget what people think. Forget what people think of you. You are going to lose friends over this. You're going to lose people over this because they're going to make comments. Just push it aside because it's part of a plan to change for a better future.
Yeah, 100%. And sometimes being down and out is
Shows you who the real people are in your life. Shows you what
Resets
the
everything
focus,
for a better.
what the
humbles-
focus in your
humbles
life
the
should
hell out
be.
of you, man. Yeah.
Yeah, man. 100%.
But
Yeah.
lads, I think that's a really good note to end on. I think that was really beautiful advice there, man. Because it's so true. I guess just one quick thing I'll add on that is, there's always an option, right? There's always help.
Yeah.
Even if you don't want to swallow your pride and you just want to gain control of your finances, there's always help. There's always organizations out there that you can go speak to, and they can help you. It's a sad thing that we have to talk about this, but you know, it is a reality of life and the reality of the time that we live in, I guess. But yeah, man, lads.
This was a good one.
Yeah, man.
Really enjoyed it.
Yeah, you can tell
Like,
we enjoyed
subscribe,
it. You can tell we enjoyed
subscribe, follow.
We're
Yeah,
making
man.
up for yesterday, so this might be a
Follow the journey.
it.
Yeah.
A two-part.
two-part,
Yeah.
and then we'll put the bloopers at the end.
Yeah.
Now,
man.
honestly, it's early doors, but so far, just some of the love we've received and stuff like that, it's been great. So,
Yeah, it has.
Yeah,
no, we really
100%.
appreciate it.
Amazing.
Keep following,
Keep tuning
keep
in.
subscribing, all of that.
Keep tuning in, man. 100%, man. At @team_Akhi on all the socials, man. Go check us out. Blessings.
Peace.